This is Rugby Radio. Rugby Radio with Stuart Cameron.
Well, hello, welcome on a rather breezy afternoon to Rugby Radio Live, coming to you from Philippock, where there's a derby in the Premiership between Selkirk and Melrose. But our featured commentary match, all being well, is at Malleny Park in Edinburgh, where Robin Purdie and Iain Hurd are today. At the moment, we're having a few technical difficulties, so we can't go there for the moment. But we do have Hugh Brown, who's with us today here at Philippock, and it's a big match here, Selkirk against Melrose.
It certainly is, Stuart. Good afternoon from Philippock. You know, it's still extremely blustery here. In the past half hour we've had pretty heavy rain showers as well. They've gone, thankfully, and the sky has cleared a bit, but it still is blustery, and I think that will play havoc, particularly if any of the players try kicking. But anyway, it's going to be a really interesting game here. And by their own standards, of course, Stuart, both teams have underperformed so far this season, with Selkirk rooted at the bottom of the table, still without a win in 5 games, although they were well ahead against GHA but threw it away in the second half, whilst Melrose haven't won away from home. So between them, it's just 1 win in 10 games. Today is also important because it doubles up as a Border League fixture, and of course we know that Selkirk are the current holders of the Border League. Last time these two met here, it was a high scoring encounter, with the suitors winning by just 6 points. In team news here at Philippock for Selkirk, Ben Pickles is back after a long layoff, and 3 of the Edinburgh Rugby Academy players are available. Winger Ross McKnight starts in the team, while Ross Woffenden and Mac Rutherford are both on the bench. For Melrose, the good news is that Donald Crawford and Rolly Brett returned from injury, and Rory McHaffey has been released by Edinburgh and plays at fullback. I mentioned although Storm Amy has moved north, it's still very, very windy here, which could play a significant role in how this game is played out. So there's a lot at stake today in what should be a good one to watch here at Philippock. It's Selkirk against Melrose. And
earlier on, of course, you did actually catch up with a couple of people, the head coaches of Melrose, which is Scott White. And first of all, we can hear your chat with Sesh Henderson.
Sesh, it's not the place you'd want to be in terms of the table. 5 games, 5 losses, rock bottom.
No, not at all. But look, we're there. We have to react to that. Okay, and this is another big game for us today to try and secure a win and get the points. We know what we need to do. We know areas we need to work harder on, and let's see what happens over 80 minutes today.
What do you think the problems have been then for the team that you haven't managed to get a win so far?
Okay, just a bit of game management, perhaps. Okay, within the see-out game, we go 5 tries to 1 up against GHA at half time. We just need to try and make sure that next quarter was really important, but we didn't. Okay, we let them in. We cut a couple of easy scores, and we got the momentum, and that's as simple as that can happen these days. And I mean, Jihad are a very good side, and if you give them momentum, then they'll score tries against you. But I just thought, we came back really well. We could have won it in the end, but we got a couple of points off it, but it should have been 5.
Yeah, but I mean, against GHA, you were well ahead in the first half, and you almost threw it away in the second half.
Well, we did throw it away.
Yeah, you did.
We did throw it away, and but that was a disappointing part. It was that third quarter of the game where they scored 2 or 3 tries. I think we let them in pretty easily, and we can't do that today against Melrose because they play really good rugby.
They certainly do, although they're struggling a wee bit this season too. Only 1 win out of 5. Additionally, this is a doubles up as a Border League fixture too.
Yes, of course, right. That's what's exciting about it. You've got a Border derby. Sometimes these games go either way. It can be a dour affair, or it can be an exciting affair. The last couple of games we played against them, it's been pretty exciting game of rugby for both sides. I played, high scoring, and luckily we've just got on the end of a couple of good wins here. But look, it's a different season. We need points, but we need a performance to gain the points.
And of course, you're the defending champions of the Border League.
Yeah, we want to get points here as well, and we've won 1 game, but we've been beaten 1, so we want to get back on that winning trail and make it a double header today for us.
Now the storm has passed, but it's still very blustery here at Philippock. Do you think that will play a part in how the game is played out?
Well, it will do if you allow it to be. Okay, I mean, you can score tries with the wind or without the wind, but it's about that discipline, that control of the ball, the game management with the wind, but also more importantly, game management without the wind. And if we get that right today, then I think we've got the firepower today to cause some real damage.
So if you get the choice, which way would you play in the first half?
I think I'll probably play going against the wind.
Reason for that?
Well, I think you can play control rugby better with the wind at your back. So the wind going into the wind, more so than just a kicking game with the wind, So I think we've got the players to control the game. We can go forward, and hopefully we can sustain them from scoring a lot of points with the wind. But at the same time, we've got to make sure we've got the ball, control it. We can score against the wind.
Do you think the Premiership is more competitive this season because there are only 10 teams?
Very much so, very much so. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there, and you need to be at your best. And we've proven this. You have to be at your best to win games. I think we should have won 3 of the last 5 games, and we didn't. We'll have to suck that up, but we need to get points on the board now.
Are you optimistic then against Melrose today?
Yeah, very much so. It's it can go either way. It's who wants it the most. I think we've got the players to win today, but at the end of the day, they cross the whitewash. You go out and perform. We can't do anything for them now.
We'll wish you all the best today. Hope it goes well. Hope it's a good game for the crowd to watch.
Yeah, I hope so. It's rain's off, a wee bit of breezy, but I'm sure since it's Ladies' Day they'll come out and lots of voices and have a good day, and hopefully the rugby's good as well.
Sesh, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Scott, 1 win out of 5, not the best start for Melrose.
I think it depends we're not far away. I mean, you look at 5 games, 3 losing bonus points, 1 win, and then beat by Ayr by 12 points. So, on the other hand, obviously, scoreboard doesn't lie and the league table doesn't lie, but, the games that we've actually been getting beaten in are within 7 points. So, we've actually played some decent rugby, but just unfortunately not been able to see these games out.
Yeah, but you do have to win games in order to get points.
Correct. And look, we've not changed much. We gave the boys all of last week off. We felt that was quite important, just in terms of we realise that they're putting in a huge amount of effort. But as you say, points makes prizes. So today hopefully we can kick off. We've had the goal at the start of the season that we want to win the Border League. We want to finish in the top 4, and we're going to have to win quickly, and obviously today is a double header. So we've played 2 games in the Border League already, Jed and Peebles in pre-season, so we're setting 2 from 2. So today is very important on both fronts.
Selkirk will be very much up for this, not only because they haven't got a win yet, but also because they're the current holders of the Border League. I
think that's what you get when you come to Selkirk. I mean, the reality is it's never easy, and I think as we've just spoke about there in previous conversation, there's not an easy game in the Premiership now either. So you've got to prepare. I think we've changed probably the conversation the last couple of weeks. We've actually focused on the opposition, but the last couple of weeks, we've just focused on what can we do well. And I think we've taken the conversation out of the opposition, and we've just really concentrated on ourselves and had a real hard look at ourselves in terms of, the opportunities that we're creating, but we're not scoring. So, we're creating loads of opportunities. We would just say it was probably shot selection's been poor. So the last couple of weeks, we've really, really honed in on ourselves and just worrying about ourselves. So hopefully we see that today again.
You mentioned that you gave the players a week off. It's the first time in the Premiership there's been a player welfare break. Yeah. Are you a fan of that?
I think it's, certainly for us at the time it was that. You had a couple of injuries going into that. We had Rolly Brett, Donald Crawford. It gives the boys opportunity. Then you've got boys that are playing 80 minutes week in, week out. And, as we've just said, it's actually quite a bloody good standard of rugby. It's physical, and we've certainly benefited from it. I'll maybe be saying something different at half 4, of course, but I think just mentally, in terms of, you've seen the boys come back on Tuesday night, and I think there's a real buzz about the place in terms of energy was high, and so it was just nice for everybody to get a break from the club to come back in on Tuesday. So the environment's been good, the buzz has been good this week, so we can't complain with preparation.
You've got Rory McHaffey today from the Edinburgh Academy Rugby available to play for you. Do you think it's a good thing that the pro teams release players to play in the Premiership?
Well, I think everybody's asking for the best possible standard of rugby, and these guys are professional or academy rugby players for a reason. So if people are asking for the best standard of rugby on a Saturday, that's only evident that these guys coming down are helping that standard of rugby. So for us, Rory's been great. Obviously ties in, he's a young local lad from Peebles as well, so he gets the whole border derbies and everything like that. So it's you don't have to introduce him to that. And I think for him, spoke to him on Thursday night there at training for a while, and he trains with the academy. They don't train full time with the full team. So where does he then play rugby if he doesn't get released? So and you go on about player welfare, and you go on about their mindset and stuff. So for them to get rugby at the end of the week is equally important as a club player.
I suppose the negative side is it might squeeze out a regular player.
Oh, and it does. I mean, you've got Donald Crawford sitting on the bench, who's obviously not that happy on Thursday night, but he's also got to appreciate that he's been off rugby for 4 months. So, in terms of the medical side of things, he's obviously kind of time limited and stuff, so it ties in with us. But, everybody knows that from the outset. Obviously, Edinburgh and Glasgow have been really clear that a lot of the academy guys are going to get released this year. So, the players know that. The players know that these guys are going to be coming in week out.
How about the weather today? Because of course we've had Storm Amy overnight. It's passed north, but it is still very, very blustery.
I think it's getting hit. Well, the wind's certainly getting stronger, and I mean, it'll probably be a game of two halves, and you could probably say that before the game even starts. And I think, it'll probably come down to who uses the wind probably the most effective has a big outcome in the game today.
And optimism then in the Melrose camp about a victory away from home, first one of the season.
I coach every week to win, so I'm not going to say any different. I mean, I wouldn't be in the job. I'm probably one of the most competitive in the squad when it comes to wee mini games through the week and stuff. So, I'm coaching to win on a Saturday, and that's the bottom line.
Scott, we wish you all the best. Hope it's a good game this afternoon.
Thanks, Hugh.
There were Hugh Brown talking to Scott White, and before that Sesh Henderson, both head coaches of Selkirk and Melrose. Well, fingers crossed, elastic bands, chewing gum, everything at the ready. Let's go over to Malleny Park now, and all being well, we can actually bring in Robin Purdie and also Iain Hurd. Let's just see if that is possible. Hello, guys.
I am here. Robin is here. Iain is on duty at the moment, trying to get accurate substitute numbers, so you're stuck with me as it stands.
That's absolutely fine, so long as we've got connected, because it's going to be a damn long show if you aren't there. So let's talk about the weather first of all. Obviously it's playing havoc over here. They said no rain, but we've had torrents coming down at Selkirk. It's gone away now, it's blown over, but how are things at Malleny Park?
Yeah, well, it's not raining at the moment, Stuart. Anyway, it's very breezy. I've seen worse though. I have to say, there would never be any danger of this game being off. For example, it's very breezy. It looks like it's blowing down the pitch from left to right. So obviously it's going to be a massive factor here today, as it's going to be around the country. And I think in most of the games today, it's just going to be a case of who manages it the best.
And that's the important thing, isn't it? Because I mean, I'm always amazed when you talk to a coach and they'll say, "Oh yes, we're going to play with the winds. We'll get a big score built up first of all." But that isn't always the case, is it?
I'm always a bit sort of confused. It would confuse me as to what to do. I mean, the wind is blowing at the moment. So if you get the option to play with it, what if it's not blowing come half time?
Exactly.
What if it changes? I've seen that happen on the odd occasion. So I don't know. Do you just have to take it when you're offered it and then hope for the best in the second half? But yeah, it's an absolute morale crusher if you play with, you talk about a 20-point wind. I'd suggest this is a 20-point wind here today. You play with a 20-point wind and then you're only 6-3 up at half time. Then you've got a job on your hands in the half-time team talk. So no, I would imagine who plays with the wind here today will be up at half-time, and if you're playing against the wind at half-time and you're up, then you're in a pretty good place.
Of course, plenty of pressure on the fly half as well to kick accurately, because I mean we've seen it many a time. Big kicks from inside their own half, and the wind just taking it, blowing it over the dead ball. They've lost all the advantage.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because Iain and I were just chatting about that off air, because a few Watsonians players were out earlier on, and they were wellying it from one half with the wind down towards the posts at the other end, and we could only assume that they were trying to see how much roll is there here, because the pitch is in brilliant condition. It's really rock solid. Iain was it was really firm anyway. Iain was out on it before. This is not the Malleny of old as far as the pitch is concerned, but yeah, we had it that these Watsonians players were seeing. Is there a chance you could welly it from your own half and end up with a scrum against you in your own half?
Now, talking of matches on today, of course, National 1, it's their turn for the welfare break, so there are no National 1 fixtures. Called off last night was the National 2 game between GHK and Howe of Fife, due to bus companies getting a bit nervous about travelling. The same thing happened this morning. Millbrae, the big game, Ayr against Hawick, that is off.
There's nothing Hawick can do if the bus company say they're not going to take the team, then there's not much there's short of jumping in cars. But let's be honest, this is Premiership rugby, Stuart. This is not second team or third team or way down the divisions, East League. No offence to East League, but you don't jump in a handful of cars and head away to Ayr to play the best team in the country. That's just not a feasible option. So not much Hoyt can do about that, but yeah, they'll be good about that down at Millbrae this afternoon, that is for sure.
Absolutely. Well, let's hear a chat that you had earlier on with Davy Wilson. You didn't manage to get Mark Cairns today, unfortunately, from CURRIE. He might just turn up, but I doubt it now because we've got about 40 minutes to kick off. But let's hear what you talked to Davy Wilson about.
Last time out, you had a pretty solid showing against Ayr with an understrength team as well, so I guess you can take a fair bit of confidence from that game, even in defeat.
Yeah, definitely. I think the thing about Ayr is generally you know what's coming, so we knew that we had to be strong in our defence, and that's exactly what we were. I think where we sort of became a bit unstuck was just in and around our kind of attack play, so limited with obviously certain backs not being available, but you know we stuck to task, and if we'd maybe taken our chances, as I said previously, then we could have maybe have come away with a win.
And you're in the middle of a tough block of games: Heriots, Ayr, CURRIE, then the Greenyards next weekend. Are periods like this just a case of scramble as many points as possible and looks to maximise the 5 pointers against maybe the more winnable looking teams? Or?
Yeah, I don't think we adopt that kind of mindset at all. I think we take every game that we play as an opportunity for us to actually win. So I don't think it's more about trying to get points from wherever. It's just that if we go out and do what we're coaching the guys to try and prove, then I think we're always going to be in the game. So no, I don't think our mentality is just to try and pick up wherever. I think our mentality is, look, let's see if we can win every game.
And we've spoken a lot this season on the show, on the podcast, you know, a number of times about the number of young lads that you have, some of which are basically school leavers in the squad. This will be a real test of mettle today. You know, coming to Malleny is one of the real tests in club rugby anyway, but I guess it's amplified in a day like this, conditions like these. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I played here for many a year, and not only is it a bit of a fortress, you know, they've got a very vocal home squad, home crowd that galvanised the team. So, you know, conditions are going to be tricky today. Certainly, with the wind pretty much going up and down the field here, it's going to be probably the side that adapts the quickest to that and makes the least errors.
And Loman McPherson's back today, as is Dom Coates. I was really impressed by both those guys when I saw you last at Selkirk, and you know their caliber's well known, so you know just how important it is to have the likes of them back in the squad today.
Yeah, and they're two very experienced players in and amongst the youngsters that you spoke about. So you know, Dom unfortunately has not been available the last 2 weeks or so because his family's been over from South Africa, and Loman was just again unavailable because of prior commitments. But you know, those two are really important to us. I've not actually had a chance to have Ronan Kerr play this season so far. He's another big player for us in terms of the back division. So look, we're doing well enough as it is. I think that if we can get all these guys fit and training regularly, then I'm pretty sure that the back division will continue to improve throughout the season.
And looking at the squad today, some might say you have the stronger bench. So is that an area where you think you might get joy as the game wears on?
Well, I think so. I mean, we've got Cam Murphy that's joined us just this week. I don't know a huge amount about Cam. I know that he was around with Super 6 and he's been down at Cambridge Rugby Football Club. So he's come back up. But yes, we've got, I think the bench can add some impact, and that's going to be key for us. And that's the benefit of having sort of strength and depth throughout your squad.
And lastly, Davey, you know, mentioned it's one of the toughest places you can come. What does it take to win here today?
Well, we've just got to basically match, you know, CURRIE in terms of their desire and their want. I mean, they'll obviously want to continue with the success that they've had so far, and we've just got to want to match it and go beyond it to get the result. And as I say, if we can meet them in all areas of the game, then hopefully it's going to be very competitive and close.
Well, it's one that we're looking forward to very much, so we wish you well. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that.
Davy Wilson talking to Robin Purdie there. Well, another Prem match we're covering today is at Balgray, where 5th place Kelso have made the trip to take on Glasgow Hawks. They're in 7th. Kelso have won 3 games so far, all border derbies and all at home. And watching this one for us is Andrew Fleming.
Yes, thanks Stuart. Welcome to rather blustery Balgray for an intriguing encounter between two very evenly matched teams. After 22 matches last season, just a solitary point separated 8th place Hawks from 9th place Kelso, with both sides winning their home encounter in the head-to-head. Hawks by 4 points in a 3-point victory at Ponder Park for Kelso, which secured their Premiership safety. Today, Hawks make 6 changes to their starting 15 from the side who lost to GHA a fortnight ago, with Glasgow Warriors Academy duo Ryan Burke and Alex Bryden starting in the second row and at inside centre respectively. For Kelso, the only change in the starting lineup sees the return of Gregor Law to the Boiler House, with Cammy Thompson switching to number 8. This change sees Bruce McNeil drop to a rather formidable looking bench alongside the likes of Dan Gamble, plus Edinburgh Academy duo Jack Utterson and Nair Moncrief. Looking forward to this one is Glasgow Hawks versus Kelso. Kick-off here at Belgrade is at 3 o'clock.
This is Rugby Radio. Rugby Radio.
Based in Galashiels but covering the whole region and beyond, Borders Mortgage Hub is your one-stop shop for all things mortgage related in the Borders. Visit us at bordersmortgagehub.com or call us on 01896 807 008. That's 01896 807 008. Borders Mortgage Hub. Mortgages for the Borders in the Borders.
When it's time to celebrate the big wins, on and off the pitch, choose Oakham Black, one of the UK's leading suppliers of sustainable medals, trophies and gifts. Great moments deserve to be remembered, with custom designs made just for your club, school or business. Oakham Black. Celebrate, acknowledge, inspire. Find out more at oakamblack.com.
Oak and Black. This is Rugby Radio. Rugby Radio.
Welcome along to Malleny Park for the Arnold Clark Premiership's game of the day, I would call it anyway. Currie in third, Watsonians in fourth, and with many believing that both of these teams will be in the playoffs come the business end of the season. A win today would do their prospects of that absolutely no harm whatsoever as the league table starts to take shape 6 games in. Of course, the weather's going to play its part, so you very much get a sense of whoever can best deal with the conditions this afternoon will come away with the spoils. Looking at the teams for Currie, Charlie Brett's at 15, Ryan Daly and Fraser Sayers are on the wings. Scott Robson and a late change, actually, Aaron McCall are in the centres with Alex Harley at 10 and the impressive Gregor Christie at 9. Jamie Stewart, Chris Anderson, Gregor Skugel form the front row. Rhys Davis and Ali Bain are in the middle row with a back row made up of Sam Cardosi, Archie Fletcher and Ed Hasdall. Watsonians have Andy McLean at full back, Max Gary and Harry Fisher are out wide. Lomond and McPherson partners Harry Clark in midfield with Adam McKenzie and Chris Bell at 9 and 10. Front row it's Donald Vos, Bryce Robertson and Cole Lamberton. Christian Lindsay from Edinburgh Rugby and Lewis Ball are in the second row, with the loose forwards being Skipper Quagga van Niekerk, Stu Allison and Harry Jackman. I beg your pardon, actually Stu Allison is a late change as well. Campbell Wilson steps up to the bench for him. The ref today is Rob McDowell with Gordon Glashton and Rosie Evans running touch, and alongside me once again this afternoon's Iain Herd. So Iain, a day like this, it's surely all about who best manages the conditions.
I think so, Robin. I mean, it's not quite as bad as I expected it to be. There is quite a decent wind blowing left to right as we look out from the stand, so blowing down towards the scoreboard end here at Malleny Park. I think there's when you look at both teams, a cracking battle, I think, in the back row in particular. There's some really good forwards for both teams. Probably the 2 form number 8s this year. Obviously take Blair McPherson out of that, I suppose, but you've got Ed Hasdall, who's been outstanding, and also Harry Jackman, the young lad from Watsonians, who's been really good. I think also the fact that Currie play with a sort of 4th back row forward in skipper Rhys Davis, I think that could make a big difference today, because although the weather's quite breezy, I still think there'll be a bit of rugby and a bit of runabout rugby.
Yeah, I agree with you, Iain. It's not as bad here as I would suggest as it is in other parts of the country. But as I was saying to Stuart before, we did see some of the Watsonians lads. It looked like they were testing out the bounce of the ball almost. On a day where you could send it from your own half 60 metres and end up with a scrum. Against you back 60 metres. Yeah,
it's a very strange situation, having been here many times in the past refereeing, to be 2 days of rain and looking at a Malleny pitch that is looking absolutely superb. Green grass. I've been out and a bit walk up on it, and it's quite solid as well. So used to be in mud cell when it's many years ago. But yeah, the wind is it's quite a simple wind. It's straight down the pitch. So obviously the team playing with the wind, they've got to be very careful trying to go for 50-22s where potentially they could knock it over the dead ball line and give the opposition an opportunity. But again, it's going to be a weapon to be used, and if it's used well, I think it could have a big difference and make a big difference to the game itself.
And you've seen Currie rather last time out, Iain, at Melrose. On the face of it, I was away that day, but on the face of it, they gutsed that one out. They showed a bit of character.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they went into they shot out in a 12-0 lead, I think it was, very early on. It looked like they were going to put a few points on Melrose that day, but Melrose fought back. Currie made a few mistakes, and they possibly, I would say, went into their shell a little bit. but then they fought back, even with a red card to the replacement hooker. So they were down to 14 men, but they just dug in, and they had that little bit extra power, which they used to their advantage, just to get a fairly close. I think it was a sort of maul try, and then also a sort of close in try where it was just forwards bashing, and eventually I think it was Rhys Davis that went over to clinch the points for Currie that day.
And you and I both seen Watsonians a few weeks ago against Selkirk. I think it's fair to say we were both very impressed with them, particularly some of the young guns in the ranks.
Yeah, hugely impressed. I think we said that day that one of the things that you noticed was that it was only when you were close up to the youngsters that you realised that they were sort of 17, 18 years of age. They looked physically fit. They looked as powerful as the rest of the players alongside them. So yeah, I mean they've been quite impressive. Again, if they've got to keep a hold of the ball, then there's no better place to do it than running against the wind, where that ball's blowing back into you. You can get that ball out in front. So yeah, who plays the conditions? I think that's probably going to be a big factor in it, but I think this is a very tight one to call, for me anyway.
Well, it's 3 o'clock by my watch, and we're still awaiting the two teams. Of course, here at Malleny Park, the changing rooms are quite a distance from the actual playing field. There's a second team game going on at the moment as well. It's also Watsonians, or Currie v Watsonians, and there's a reasonable crowd here today as well, Iain. There's a good buzz about the place.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's quite a lot of people watching, certainly in the stand. Not so many on the far side, but there's still a few, and there'll still be a few to come. Always sort of latecomers arriving, but yeah, it was always the awkward thing about getting your timings right coming here, because you've got probably about 1,000-yard walk to get here, and teams are never that desperate to get started, but hopefully we get ourselves underway sooner rather than later.
Yeah, still awaiting the teams. I think one of the things that these two teams have got in common this season, Iain, is that both have given Ayr a pretty good crack.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to Mark Cairns before the game against Melrose, and I think they were slightly disappointed. They had an opportunity with the last play of the game, and yeah, one of those situations where I think he said it was Gregor Christie, the scrum half, who's been outstanding this year, thought he had an opportunity, reached out and just lost the ball, whereas he felt that if they kept it for another couple of phases, yeah, they probably would have scored and beaten Ayr across there, and I thought it was a good performance. Watsonians seem to have run them fairly close a couple of weeks ago as well. So, both these teams sitting third and fourth in the league will be looking to, cement that top four place. And then at the end of the day, when we get to the end of the season and we start to really push things, it's a great opportunity for them just to have a one-off bash against the Ayers and the other teams at the top of the league.
It is still awaiting the teams. We had a delay to kick off last week at Jed. We've not been informed that there's going to be a delay here today. DJ to my left is keeping us entertained with Barbie Gill playing over the...
It's an interesting choice. I think we had ACDC earlier, which would certainly have been higher on my list than Barbie Girl, but that's Currie arrived now, thankfully.
Yeah, Currie arriving to Barbie Girl, but no, that's been changed now as well to the now familiar Freed from Desire. Referee today is Rob McDowell. Iain, and what can we expect from him this afternoon? Obviously, you know a thing or two about officiating.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they let the game flow. I think my biggest issue this year, I've said this a number of times, is around the scrum. I think they just let's get control of the scrum early on, and let's get the ball out and about. Let's see some running rugby, because again, even though the wind is there, it's still got the opportunity. But yeah, let's keep it tight to begin with. Once the players are in a position where they're happy to play a bit of rugby, let's let it go, and let's see some good flowing rugby today, please.
Well, I'm pleased to say the teams are now with us. Currie are going to play with the wind in the first half. Given the choice, Iain, incidentally, what would you do? Coached a bit of Jed last season. What would you do given a play with the wind or play against it first half?
It's always a difficult one. I think if you do play with the wind, there's always the potential that wind can drop, and you should have had the benefit of it. But having said that, there's also the opposite, which is you get that little bit of extra boost towards the end of the game.
Well, we are underway. It's Currie playing from left to right. Kind of sclaffed kick off, it has to be said, by Charlie Brett, and it's been taken in. That'll give Watsonians their first possession just outside their 22. Watsonians in their familiar maroon and white attire. Currie in the all black usual with yellow trim, and we're just waiting for the first box kick of the afternoon. You can see straight away that's been held up in the wind, and that's been taken in by hugely impressive number 8 Ed Hasdall. We imagine he'll truck it a few times this afternoon. Next carry for Archie Fletcher, the open side. So Currie with their first chance to attack from just inside their own half. Fed on there by another impressive back row man, Cardosi, and they've got a wee bit of space here on this near side. Now it's with Robeson. Robeson's threaded a kick through, and the winger's interested in this. Loman McPherson's done well to get back and tidy things up. That was Fraser Sayers after it. But Watsonians have got possession now, but it's deep inside their own 22, almost 5 metres from their own try line. Currie attacking with intent. You feel this is minimally a 15-point wind, and that kick to touch was almost charged down, but in the end it's got to the touchline. You can see straight away Watsonians kicking into the wind, Iain, just how much of an impact it's going to have.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about you're going to struggle to get out of your 22 from there, but good work there by the replacement McCall, who's come in at the last minute. He did the right thing, he chipped it through, and then it was a good chase after that to give Currie a really good opportunity.
Oh, that's an overthrow there from Currie's, and it's been taken in at the back by a Watsonians forward, so they're going to have another chance to exit here, and back it once again it goes to Bell, and Bell's put his foot through that, and once again it's been held up in the wind. And it's going to be a line out again to Currie on the 22. It's going to be thrown in by this auxiliary hooker today, Chris Anderson. Normally plays prop. There's a wee bit of an injury crisis here from a hooker perspective here at Malleny. Roy Vikagu, Ryan Stewart both injured at the moment. Currie have thrown this in, and they're going to try and rumble it. No, it's back with Christie, the Kiwi, and that's Robeson on the charge, held up just outside the 22, and another man on the charge is Cardosi, but that's a good hit on him. He's stopped in his tracks, don't see that too often. Rhys Davis, another driven back, but high shot on Rhys Davis, so the first penalty of the afternoon's coming. It's bang in front as well, so Currie playing with a free ball here. Alex Harley, the 10, trying to orchestrate things, still in possession, still in around the 22, and a hands came through there on the scrum half, and he's taken it quickly. Christie thought about the 3 points, and that's gone to Harley, and Harley has a crack. All action start here by the home team. Big tackle in there by Quagga van Niekerk, and here's another big tackle on the on-rushing co-captain Rhys Davis. Full of intent, but some big shots by Watsonians, and it's been fumbled, it's been knocked on. Tackle in there by Donald Vos. Now are they going to try and go from their own line here? Watsonians are a little half break on here, and it's been kicked through, and the winger's after it, and that's been knocked into touch by a Currie player. So good exit. It was good pressure by Currie initially, but a good exit in the end.
Yeah, really good work there by Watsonians. It's an interesting one that they realised that they'd won that, they turned the ball over, and they actually decided to keep the ball in hand, which gave them a really good opportunity. Slightly worrying here, an injury to one of the Watsonians players. Actually, it looks like he's been sort of a bit wobbly. Rhys Davis, which is good on him. The Currie captain just kept an eye on him just before they get the medics on. Not sure exactly who that is, but it looked like he got a bit of a bang on the head there.
Yeah, he's coming back across gingerly. Looks okay. Gregor Christie having a chat with the referee, Rob McDowell. Gregor Christie, when you see him from here, Iain, he looks as fit as a butcher's dog. There's not a bit of fat on him.
Yeah, he certainly does. It was an interesting decision to take the quick tap there. I thought they probably would have either gone for the corner or gone for the points, because, you know, as you said, if it's potentially a 15-point win, but if you don't take your chances, you know, that gives Watsonians a real boost going into when it comes to half time, because, you know, they're thinking that if they're 15 down or better at half time, they've done quite well.
So the hooker it was that took the bash to the bonds, Bryce Robertson, and he's had to come off. So on has come the youngster Boyd Cooper. He was impressive as a substitute at Selkirk earlier in the season. 1 try from 4 came in from Strathallan School, and they're making good headway here. They won the line out, Watsonians, in the first foray into the Currie half. Not thinking of kicking for possession, or kicking for territory rather, as it stands at the moment, with a fierce wind in their face. Van Niekerk, his first carry, and what a carry it is. It's gone loose there, and it's been dived on by Archie Fletcher, the open side for Currie. So Currie now with another chance, and that's Tipped out the back to Brett. And Brett, that's a good little wraparound by Brett. It was a 1-2 between him and Chris Anderson. Cardosi. Anderson loitering with intent. Again the hooker. And that comes to Daly on this near side. Daly pubs the legs and is taken to ground. Think some of the Currie faithful that was slightly high, but nothing doing. Christie once again. And that's a good tackle on Rhys Davis. Absolutely flew out the line, did the late replacement Campbell Wilson. Great work there by the late call up. And it's back with Bell. Bell to talented young inside centre Harry Clark. They're going to try and go from deep again. Andy McLean, we all know about his running prowess. We've seen him earlier in the season in the 10 jersey at Selkirk with 15 on his back this afternoon. And that's the first carry for the recruit this afternoon from Edinburgh Rugby, Christian Lindsay. Only 18 years of age, captained Scotland under-18s earlier this year, and he's a big lad for one so long. Bell going through the phases here. Watsonians, good early start. Loman McPherson's beat the first man, and he tries to offload it. McPherson and manages to get it to the scrum half, but he was collared, so they come again. Van Niekerk to Bell. Nice offloading here. Now out the back it went to Vos. Now Vos couldn't take it, and there's another player come to the touchline here. That looks like a dislocated finger potentially, yet the medic is going to try and put that back in as Iain Hurd to my right covers his eyes. That's right in front of us. Not a pleasant sight, but still in possession. Watsonians, and the Currie players manfully back on the field. Watsonians now into the Currie 10 metre line, and that's back inside to young Harry Clark. Little half break. It was a good ball inside from Bell. They've got numbers on the near side here. McPherson's beating the first man, tries to pirouette with the second challenge. Campbell Wilson now in possession. It was his big hit. It was him rushing up on the line on Ryan Davis that started all this. Van Niekerk back inside to the substitute Boyd Cooper. They've inched their way up to the 22 here. Good play by the visitors so far. Clark, and they've got numbers on that far side now. The bit of space is opened up there. Bouncing off the tackle and up towards the 5 metre line now. Brilliant multi-phase attack here by what's on his Bell. Has a little dart. He thought he'd seen a little bit of space, and they're still in possession. Cole Lamberton takes it up. Van Niekerk again, route one from that. Van Niekerk back inside there to Christian Lindsay. 3 or 4 metres short here. Bell once again. Again, numbers on the far side. That's a good tackle by Rhys Davis. Managed to stem the flow of that Watsonians attack there. Lamberton again. He's dragged to deck. Lindsay, or rather it's came to Loman McPherson. Now Loman McPherson's on an arcing run here, and he's gone right round Loman McPherson. Ryan Daly managed to scrag him at the end. Side to side for Watsonians there. There must be 15 to 20 phases into this attack, and Christian Lindsay, once again the 18-year-old Edinburgh Rugby recruit, he's had a busy start to the game. Decent enough Currie defence in the last few or 4 phases though, and holding on for slightly too long. The crowd are happy about that. Good multi-phase attack, Iain, but good defence in the end.
Yeah, superb attack there by Watsonians. A couple of times I felt they just had an opportunity. Harry Jacobin, the big number 8, he was very close to being through. Just needed one more pass or one more body outside him. Currie defended well, and they just bide their time nicely, and then they get somebody in over the top of the ball. So, you know, this is what the game's going to be about today. It's going to be about keeping a hold of the ball and not throwing silly offloads, and just trying to edge your way up the pitch because of that wind, as opposed to, you know, the team that are playing with the wind. They're just going to get ball and just turf it down the bottom end as quickly as they possibly can.
So the penalty from about 5 metres from the Currie line has been sent almost to halfway, but there's more running repairs here to our Currie player. Now I think it's the same player who'd dislocated the finger, and that looks like more work getting done to that finger. Good work by the physio. She snapped it back in, and he was quick back onto the field.
It wasn't pretty. I just happened to look down at the wrong time, and he was pointing in the opposite direction with that finger, I'm afraid.
So he's coming back to the back to the line out. It's Skugel, the prop, 17 on his back, and this will be interesting because it's the stand-in hooker. First darts of the afternoon for Chris Anderson. Plays it safe. That's a good throw, actually. I know it's been tipped off the top there by Rhys Davis. Didn't quite make it to Gregor Christie, but he played it and has dropped it. So the chance goes a begging. We are there for a Watsonians scrum. 6 or 7 metres in from the stand side here at Malleny Park. A pretty good start. The away team currently Currie 0, Watsonians 0. Maybe 15 minutes or so into this game, maybe 13 minutes, slightly late starting. Adam McKenzie, signed from Edinburgh, he's the Watsonians scrum half. 1 try from 5 this season. So wait, Rob McDowell, the referee, setting this scrum. ARs this afternoon, Gordon Galash and Rosie Evans. The scrum eventually comes together. It's fed by McKenzie, and that's as solid a scrum as you're going to see. So McKenzie to Bell. Bell on the wraparound was McKenzie, but didn't go to the intended target. Instead, it was picked up by Harry Fisher. Harry Fisher, a couple of tries last time out against Ayr. No mean feat. Lamberton, big mobile prop. And that's tipped on by Campbell Wilson, and it's gone forward by Watsonians. So Currie now playing with a free ball, and they're going to try and do something with it. That's on the far side to Fraser Sayers. He's got dancing footwork, Sayers, and he's made 6 or 7 metres, so they're into Watsonians territory here. And that's Hasdall on the charge, but he was well met by Campbell Wilson on the gain line. Stoic defence from Watsonians at the moment. There's been some big shots. It's a good carry in there by Rhys Davis. Skugel back in field. That was a tidy pass to Scott Robeson. Watsonians player Donald Vos has come over on the wrong side, but he's managed to leave it, so referee seems happy enough. Fletcher. More good tackling from Watsonians, however. Davis. Another good carry by the Burley veteran, and the referee, the arm is out, so playing with advantage here, Currie, and it's been knocked on by an on-rushing forward, so they're going to come back for the penalty again. It's fairly central, it's maybe 30 or so metres from the posts. And what do you fancy them to do here, Iain?
I think they should go for the points. What they will do, I'm not very sure, but I think they should go for the points. Give them that lead if they can. Again, just an interesting decision there. There was 2 breakdowns. First one, Watsonians player lay all over the top of the ball, and he was encouraged to move. And then the next play, they did it again. You know, for me, early doors, early in the game, get an opportunity, ping it quick, set your stall out, and let's go on with it. Didn't do it, had to penalise at the next one.
So they've not gone for the posts, not gone for the 3 points. Currie, they've sent it to the touchline, not made that much distance with it.
I mean, the wind's straight down the pitch, Robin. I think that's the issue, is they're not really gaining an advantage hitting it towards the touchlines.
Yeah, the line out, however, was good. So line out on the 22. Jamie Stewart is an Edinburgh recruit for Currie today, but they're going through the back division at the moment. Sayers again. Sayers going to try and take his man the outside. Good defence, but it's to Charlie Brett. Charlie Brett's over towards that touchline. It's been flung back in field up towards the line. Held up just short. Currie very much in the ascendancy here, though. Anderson was on the charge. He was a decoy runner. Hasdall has it at the moment, but again he's been stopped in his tracks. But Currie with the first real try-scoring opportunity of the afternoon here at Malleny Park, and it is the Edinburgh recruit Jamie Stewart, the latest to ever cracked. Pick and go. Skugel again content to keep it through the forwards. It's Davies up towards the line, just short. Watsonians got bodies in over that, but it's going to come back to Christie. But no, another penalty's been awarded against Watsonians. So Currie, decent little half break on the outside by Fraser Sayers. He's very much a danger man for the Malleny men. They're going to tap and go, I think, by the looks of things. And it's the prop Jamie Stewart up towards the line, just short at the moment. Digging for it is Currie, and he's touched it down, I think. Now Iain, you've got the binoculars up, what can you see in there? A try's been awarded nonetheless, but who's that been awarded to?
So Jamie Stewart, I think he's actually got over the line and actually been able to get that ball down, and it's just been a case of taking a little bit of movement to get bodies out of the way to see that try being scored. So interesting though that it was Jamie Stewart that took the tap penalty, didn't tap the ball.
Yeah,
just picked it up. You know, it's a simple skill, but you'd think that they would be able to work that out, especially if he's an academy player. But at the end of the day, that's doesn't seem to be. It's just basically ignored. So play on. But he's obviously bars over and got that ball down.
Got the ball down. He did indeed. So first blood to Currie here this afternoon. Jamie Stewart, the prop, the Edinburgh Academy prop, ex-Scotland under-18s and under-20s. Spent a bit of time in Exeter Chiefs Academy as well. He's a big old boy, and he used it to good effect there as we await this conversion attempt from Harley. And he's missed the target, so first blood, like I say, to Currie. Currie 5, Watsonians 0.
It's an interesting choice there, Robin. I mean, effective, and they scored the try. I can understand why they don't kick the touch, because you've got the lottery of the wind and picking that up. But why would you not go for a scrum when you've got someone like Ed Hasdall who can come off the back of that scrum and run straight at, you consider quite a small 10 in Chris Bell. I mean, it just seems to be a more sensible option to me than going for a scrum. Going for a tap penalty.
Yes. So Watsonians, as we wait this kick-off here at Malleny Park, it's Currie 5, Watsonians 0.
It's Selkirk 0, Melrose 3 currently. Selkirk were over the visitors' line and thought they'd scored, but in fact the referee, Sam O'Neill, pulled them back for a scrum. Fumble by Josh Welsh allowed Melrose to steal deep into the Selkirk territory, but they couldn't quite make it pay. But then a penalty was awarded from 10 metres out, which gave Melrose the lead from Edinburgh Academy player Rory McHaffey, who popped it between the sticks. Just a couple of minutes ago there was a scramble on the Selkirk line. Just when it looked like Melrose must score a try, Selkirk somehow managed to clear their lines. So we played here at Philip Hall 20 minutes, and it's currently Selkirk 0, Melrose 3.
Back here at Malleny, we've been reliably informed. Oh, and there's a break on here. We'll come back to that, because there's a break right up the middle of the park by Campbell Wilson, and he's done his man there. Campbell Wilson, the flanker, broke through the middle of the park. I think it was Harry Clark with the inside pass, Iain, and he's gone right up the middle.
Yeah, Watsonians seem to have been using that quite a bit. They've obviously identified something in the Currie defence that's weak on the inside, and basically Clark just attacked the line, got his hands free, popped the ball back into Wilson. Wilson just took off, and he's got an extreme turn of pace, unlike his old man Duncan, but fantastic turn of pace there, and just stood up the winger. Fraser Sayers stood him up and just went in just to the side of the post. Great riposte by Watsonians. You sort of look at that and think they've got to just keep a hold of the ball for a little bit of time, and they've scored off basically a phase that they wouldn't expect to score off.
Yeah, it was a wonderful try, and he's gone from what? He's gone fully 40-50 metres, the young flanker, and he's sent Sayers for a hot dog as well. It has to be said, the conversion is good from, I think that's Harry Clark with a conversion. So all of a sudden it's Currie 5, Watsonians 7, and what I was going to say was the try for Currie was actually scored by Gregor Christie. I think he got a paw on it from the back of the rack, and that kickoff's been allowed to bounce, and it's been allowed to bounce again, and a wee bit of indecision there before it's hacked the touch by Bell. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I think Watsonians have started really well. Of course, they've conceded the try, but given the wind that they're into, given we're 23 minutes in, I think they've had a brilliant start.
Yeah, I would agree. I think they've held onto the ball particularly well. They've used different moves. They've gone outside. They've popped back inside, as I was saying, 2 or 3 times, which has been quite effective. And they've looked quite good so far.
That's a good break, however, by Currie. Another big shot, though. It was Scott Robeson from off the top line out ball. Cardosi beats the first man, and they're up into the Watsonians 22. This is a good response by Currie. Oh, and that's a huge tackle. An absolutely huge tackle there on Chris Anderson by Christian Lindsay, the Edinburgh pro. That was a really big shot, Iain. He looks the worse for wear of it. And the last thing Currie need right now is another hooker injured.
Yeah, Chris Anderson's a solid unit.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to take a lot to put him down, but it looks like it's got one up, one below. So Rob McDowell's blown it up fairly quickly. Obviously not serious enough to have any sanction other than what looks like it's going to be a penalty. So he's stopped the game, probably more over concerned about Chris Anderson's state of his head. But obviously no requirement for a card.
Yeah, somebody in the crowd, you may have picked that up, shouting for a card, but nothing doing. I thought that was borderline, Iain. That looked like a decent shot, that, to me.
I'll be honest and say I was trying to put the binoculars to my eyes to see and I missed it. So yeah, I mean,
it was a big shot nonetheless.
Yeah, I think this is the thing: is you're entitled to hit and hit hard. You know, the Campbell Wilson put a great hit in earlier on. There's been a couple of really good hits, and you know, it's not always a case of just because somebody gets hit hard, it's not dangerous. It's not high. You know, it's a physical game.
Yeah, I agree with that, Iain. As the penalty gets kicked to touch from again, bang in front, I sometimes think hard but fair tackles now are penalised because they're hard and because they look like a big shot. But we'll come back to that because it's going to be a Currie line out around 7 or 8 metres from the intended target, and that was squint there by Chris Anderson. He of the big shot a few seconds ago, so that's gone awry and the chance goes a begging. But yeah, just to go back to that, Iain, is that something that's crept into the game? You know, the hard but fair shot now is becoming penalised?
It seems to be. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a physical game. I think as Tana Umaga once said, you're not playing tiddlywinks, mate. You know, it is a physical game, and something there's going to be hard hits. And you know, and actually, at times the ball carrier can cause as much of the problem as anything by maybe a more upright. Going into contact a bit more upright, it can make it look a lot worse, because if a guy gets low and he doubles him up, you know, or he gets underneath him, he can flip him over very easily. And actually, if you go into contact too high, it can cause the problem.
So Watsonians scrum inside their own 22. Currie 5, Watsonians 7. Around 24 minutes gone in this one, and they're going to try and run it from deep again, and they've made a wee bit of headway again. Watsonians up and over the 22. That was another good half break there. I think that was Max Gary on the far side, caught a wee bit behind the gain line here. However, that was good defence by Currie, but they've managed to regurgitate position, and Mackenzie comes round to send it back to Bell. No thought of kicking it again from his 22. Clark out to McLean, who's come up into the line, the fullback, dancing feet, but he's hauled to deck just outside the 22. But again, they're going to come up with a pill. So Mackenzie to Lewis Ball. Another good carry by a big burly second row. Ball, Bell, this time he does kick it. That's half hard charged down, and it's caught in the wind, and half a dozen players went up for that like it had been hailed in the Jed handball. But Watsonians, it's come back on their side, fortunately for them, and they're going to try and go from deep here again. Now that looked borderline high on Christian Lindsay. That's been allowed to play on. Back with Bell again. And that's a good strike by Bell, but again it's caught in the wind and goes to touch. And again, you know, there's no let up in this wind. I think it's worse in other parts of the country, but you can see the effect when Bell puts his foot through it.
Oh, it's definitely got an effect, and it's making it very difficult for the defending team, Watsonians in this case, who are playing against the wind, to get any sort of clearance. But you know, they're doing the right thing. I think they're trying to keep ball in hand. They're trying to move things. There's been 2 or 3 opportunities. I think they've identified that there's a new centre partnership as of 2:30 today, so yeah. You know, that's going to help as well.
Oh, and they've won the line out, Watsonians, really in the contest at the moment. They've had to guddle that ball. I think it was Jackaman managed to bring it back in though. So Bell again to Clark, and Clark again thinks he's going to get joy through that centre channel, but that time the door was slammed on his face by Cardosi. Ball having to get through a mountain of work here, these Watsonians forwards. An awful lot being asked of them. Mackenzie hooks one to touch. Duck hooks one to touch, and again it's going to be another Currie line out. It's going to be Anderson to throw in. Now the Currie line out, Iain, it has to be said, so far in this game it's not been a thing of beauty, and Do you think that Watsonians think they've got the measure there?
Yeah, I think on a day like today, I mean, with the new sort of interpretation of what's squint and what's not squint at lineouts, is basically throw somebody up because you've got a chance of winning it, but there's a reasonably good chance in this weather it's going to be squint, and if there's a contest, they'll blow it for that. You know, see, classic example again.
Yeah, wind got hold of that one, unfortunately for Anderson, and it blew right across onto the Watsonian side, so it's Clark and McPherson now to Gary. Again trying to go from deep here, the Myerside men, but they've coughed up yet another penalty, so starting to clock up against them here now. Currie, we've seen them vary up from the penalties inside the Watsonians half. You'd imagine this one will go down the touchline, and yeah, Charlie Brett's come forward. He's going to try and send it as far to touch as possible, and that's a decent nudge by Brett. It's taking them back down into the 22.
I just worry slightly, Robin, that we're now sort of 25 minutes into the game. Watsonians are leading against the wind, and Currie have had lots of opportunities to kick penalties.
And they've lost another line out there. This is becoming a problem for them, Iain. And you're right, they've been spurning the 3-pointers as well. But when all's said and done, Watsonians are still hemmed in their own 22, where you feel they're probably going to play most of this half. And again, they're going to trying to go from deep. Certainly brave here, Watsonians. Not much else they can do, in fairness. Mackenzie again at the base, and Vos this time with the carry, and he's lost the ball. The bigger prop, and it's gone forward. No, it's not. It's gone backwards, said the referee. So Loman McPherson, a couple of Currie defenders all over him, and Jackler as well. But that's a good securing of the ball, and another big carry there by Christie and Lindsay. Run headlong into Rhys Davis. Clash of the Titans there. Mackenzie having to dig for this. Davis trying to wade his way through. And Mackenzie, that's a decent kick towards touch, but Charlie Brett's underneath it, and he manages to prevent it from going out. And now it's for Fraser Sayers. Now Fraser Sayers can try and streak right up the middle here, and he's got a wee bit isolated, but that's good support work by a couple of the forwards. It's Christie back to Harley. Ryan Daly's off his wing looking for work, but he's been scragged by the ankles, so wee bit of a territorial gain this for Watsonians, albeit Currie still in possession. Currie 5, Watsonians 7, 30 minutes gone in this one, and that's been knocked on by Currie, so cheaply conceded possession. Will give it back to Watsonians, and they think they've got numbers on the far side, but Campbell Wilson thinks better of it, and a little scrum half snipe there by Mackenzie, and again another carry by Christian Lindsay. He showed up well on the guest appearance from Edinburgh Rugby, and that's been dinked forward, and interesting tactic there. Harry Fisher's after that. Fraser Sayers is caught in possession, and they're over that. Watsonians screaming for a penalty, but Currie have managed to get it back eventually. Gregor Christie, quiet so far. Christie so impressive this season. Of course, that's a big carry by Ed Hasdall, and he's managed to offload it as well to Skugel, who had his finger inserted back into place earlier on in this game. Jamie Stewart is tackled on halfway. Watsonians player in over that, and the penalty's been awarded. That to me looks like Campbell Wilson. Iain, and for a late replacement, he's having a while of a game.
Yeah, he's a quality player. I mean, he played Super 6. Yeah, he's been injured for a while. Interesting, Gregor School there, the look on his face when he was clear, it was like, who can I find to run into instead of just keep it on going in open space. And this type of game plan where they're trying to keep the ball open, the unfortunate thing is every now and again they run out of support runners and run out of support players, which then means that the jackal and the turnover's on. And a really good clearance, or a really good kick to touch there from Chris Bell. I'm just going to make an observation about Chris at standoff for Watsonians. He's an ex-scrum half, plays scrum half quite a bit. The pass is extremely quick. He's got a good hard flat pass, which is making a big difference in the wind, and he's able to pass that ball a little bit further out to his centre, so the centres can drift out a little bit and got a bit more space. Yeah,
that is evident, Iain. That's a good point, well made. Watsonians have kicked the penalty from around halfway up to around the Currie 22, which is a decent nudge in these conditions. Let me tell you, it's going to be thrown in by the substitute hooker Campbell Wilson. Very early replacement, and that's been taken in there by Quagga van Niekerk. Now, as the referee deemed that to be squint, or he awarded a penalty to Watsonians. I think that
just
was
not straight.
Yeah, that's gone straight. Tough day for the hookers But a break in play here at Malleny. It's Currie 5, Watsonians 7.
And here at Philip Hall, we've had some entertaining play in the last 15 minutes. Melrose in front, courtesy of the first try of the game, which came from a scrum 5 metres out, and the final touch went to Jack Dobby, converted successfully by Rory McHaffey. And with just over half an hour played here at Philip Hall, the score is Selkirk 0, Melrose 10.
In the Premiership, we have Currie 7, Watsonians 7, Glasgow Hawks 7, Kelso 0. No score yet from Heriots and GHA. It's obviously Selkirk 0, Melrose 10 here at Philip Hall. Dundee 7, Highland 5, Newton Stewart 0, Kirkcaldy 12, Peebles 14 and Berwick 0.
Back here at Malleny, it's Currie that's in possession. They took the scrum and they've gone from one side of the pitch to the other without making too much headway. A wee bit of afters happening there. Louis Ball and one of the Currie players, and Gregor Christie sticks up the first Currie box kick of the afternoon. Under that's Andy McLean for Watsonians, and he's off and running, and he's evaded the first challenge. Small in stature, but game as you like, but he's knocked it on there. It was a good catch and it was a good break out of defence, but the knock-on means it will be a line out, or sorry, a scrum, I beg your pardon, right on halfway, fairly central for Currie. And getting back to what I was saying before, Iain, you know, we're approaching halfway, half time, we're sort of 34 minutes in. Watsonians are an absolute dreamland here.
Well, they must be. I mean, 7-5 up against the wind away from home, you know, and they're playing some really good rugby. I'm a little surprised there's not been a few more box kicks, because especially from Watsonians, the wind's going to blow the ball back to their players. So if the guy can kick it far enough, he's putting the Currie players, Charlie Brett and Daly and Sayers, under a bit of pressure. But they don't seem to be doing that. They're trying to keep the ball really in hand.
So scrum is taken, it's picked up by Hasdell. He feeds Christie, and they're on the wrap around here, and Charlie Brett comes in at pace, but he's well tackled there by Fisher, and that's back into Hasdell. Now he'll going to take a bit of stopping, but again he's scragged around the ankles, and again it's Fisher. That's good defence by the winger, and they've got a counter drive on here, Watsonians. That's brilliant play by the forwards, and again in there is Campbell Wilson to secure possession, and it goes out now to Vos, and Vos has a trundle. That's a half break by the veteran prop, and a little. Speaking of half breaks, they've got numbers on this near side here. Oh, and there's a big collision on there. Quagga Niekirk. It was Ryan Daly, brave as you like, with a tackle on the big number 6. Lambert in. They're going to try and go again here. And again, good break out of defence here by Watsonians. They're off and running up into the Currie half, and it was a 2-on-1 situation, and the pass evaded Max Gary, and there was open prairie in front of him here.
Yeah, some really good handling there. McLean just took the ball at pace, and then Loman McPherson, who's looked quite impressive so far, just unfortunately couldn't get that pass away to Gary, because he was probably clear and scoring. Yeah, I mean, Watsonians have just been that little bit more adventurous with ball in hand. They've probably been a bit more accurate with ball in hand. Currie have been a little bit predictable. You know, I think early on we saw some of these inside balls from Watsonians which have sort of got the Currie defence guessing a little bit, whereas Currie have tended just to go out the back time and time again, so it allows Watsonians to drift, and it's a little bit easier to defend.
So it's going to be a scrum as a result of that loose pass by Currie when there was a real opportunity to score. Reminder that we now on Rugby Radio have the Rugby Radio Man of the Match sponsored by Oak and Black, so I hope you've got your thinking cap on as you stare through those binoculars there.
I'm thinking.
You're thinking. And there's a decent nudge in that scrum by Watsonians, and the penalty's been awarded now. The scrums so far this afternoon have been as even as can be, but there was nothing even about that one. They got the march on, and it's going to be a penalty to the Meyer side men inside the Watsonians half, over towards the far side of this Malleny Park pitch. So it'll be Bell to try and put it as far down the touchline as he could. That was a little stinger, that, Iain. That was a decent nudge, because it's taken play up and into the Currie 22. It's gone well so far, Bell. Not just the distribution that Iain mentioned earlier, which has been on point, but it looks like he's got his head round this win from a kicking perspective as well. So Watsonians line out. And there's a giant pillar right in front of us here, Iain, but we can just about see it. Boyd Cooper, it is to throw in, and that's a decent throw, and it's been taken in at the middle, and they're going to try and drive it forward here, as you'd expect, into the wind here. Watsonian, smart play, and it's moving forward. It's starting to pick up the pace. It's gone to ground now though, so Mackenzie will have to play at it. Clark looks interested at 12, and it's come to Clark. He's well tackled on. Cardosi tries to get in over it. Currie players asking for a penalty, but it's come back on the Watsonian side, and it's Lindsay. Now there is a penalty coming, but it's 2 Watsonians, so they're playing with a free ball here, and no, referee's now blown the whistle as the clock inches towards half time. By mind, there's about 38 minutes gone in this one, and it's a Watsonians penalty. It's Currie 5, Watsonians 7. You're making the international hand signal at the scrum there, Iain, but they've tapped and gone, and it's gone loose out the back, and Chris Anderson's dived on it, and Watsonians have somehow managed to get it back as Lindsay puts the heads down and tries to get towards the line, and Jackaman's there's a decoy runner, and Loman McPherson's up towards the line, over the line. Loman McPherson, first try of the season, 15 for him last season. He's off the mark this campaign, and Iain, as I mentioned, smart rugby into the wind.
Very smart rugby. You know, it was a good kick first of all from the penalty. It was a good take. It was a good drive again. It looked like it was Boyd Cooper at the back of that drive there. And he either slipped or he thought he was over the line and dived for it, because it looked like he thought he had the try. But they didn't panic. They recycled ball 2 or 3 times, and then just when you thought it was going to be another burst up from 2 of the big forwards up front, obviously Loman McPherson saw something out wide. Mackenzie then just got that ball out to him, and you know, it's basically one of these simple ones where he's running and the Currie players are running at the same pace, and he's getting to the line before they're going to be able to stop him. And yeah, really, really good try, and Watsonians must be absolutely delighted about the way things have gone in this first half so far.
Kick to come, Max Clark it is, and that's into the wind, through the middle it goes. So all of a sudden it's Currie 5, plenty to think about. Watsonians 13.
So that's Currie making 2 front row substitutions. We've got Chris Anderson coming off and Gregor Skugel, and it looks like Kieran Ramsey and Andrew Hogarth coming on to replace them.
So yeah, ringing the changes just before half time. Currie have taken that kick off, and it's gone long, and it was an easy one to take for Max Gary. Max Gary could have scored 2 or 3 minutes ago, but the pass went awry, but it mattered not, because Loman McPherson ventured over the whitewash shortly thereafter. Lewis Ball now with a carry. He's got through a truckload of work so far in this half, and it's back with Bell, and Bell again kicks it to touch, and again it's another decent strike into the wind, but it looks like a penalty's been awarded to Currie for one reason or another, and there's a Watsonians player down here. So yeah, break and play here at Malleny Park, where it is Currie 5, Watsonians 14.
And here at Philip Hall we've got no further scoring at the moment. Selkirk very much in the ascendancy at the moment, mind you, looking to get their first points on the board, but Melrose determined to stop them. We're just approaching half time here at Philip Hall, and the scoreline is Selkirk 0, Melrose 10.
Currie 5, Watsonians 14 if you've just heard. Glasgow Hawks 7, Kelso 0. Heriot 7, GHA 14. Selkirk 0, Melrose 10. Dundee 12, Highland 12. Newton Stewart 0, Kirkcaldy 19. Peebles 14, Berwick 0, and still no score yet from Stuart's Melville against Falkirk.
As they await Ed Hasdall to get back into position. A bit of Currie line out. It's a good attacking, prominent attacking position. This just outside the 22. Andrew Hogarth is thrown in, and this time it has gone to hand. So a better line out for Currie. It's Christie. And that pass is loose, however, and Watsonians players are up and in about it, but it was well mopped up there by Charlie Brett, and it had to be Christie again to Kieran Ramsey. He's a big lump of a boy. Ramsey, Harley to Robeson. Robeson tries to run through McPherson. That's not an easy task, but they're still in possession here, and Jamie Stewart, the latest to hit it up for Currie. He's been held up in the tackle, however, by Ball, and that's good defence by Watsonians, but it's come back on the Currie side, and it's Sayers again to Daly. Again, he's in off his wing looking for work, but he's taken down on the 22, but the penalty was coming. So Watsonians 14 points to 5 up here against the wind. They've been against the penalty count as well. As a Watsonians team manager in the ear of Gordon Galashan, the AR on this near side. And it looks like Dom Coetzer is about to come on for Watsonians as well. So it's a Currie penalty after all that. And Charlie Brett from the 22 kicks it down, almost equidistant between the 22 metre line and the try line. So in the dying embers of this first half, it did kick off 2 or 3 minutes late here at Malleny. This gives Currie the opportunity to get back in the game, really. They've had plenty possession, plenty huff and puff, but Watsonians certainly been the better team in this first half. But again, that's a better Currie line out that's taken in there by Ali Bain. And Currie again are going to have to try and rumble this forward. Tom Jeffrey, it looks like, is on as well. And round the corner once again comes Cairn Ramsey. So just starting to inch forward here. That's a tackle on Archie Fletcher, and again there's a Watsonians player in over that. It was Lamberton. Oh, and again he's been caught at the base there. Gregor Christie, good defence again by Watsonians. They're swarming all over these Currie players. How they would love to keep them out just before half time. Hasdall, he's beating the first man and he pumps the legs. The big number 8, Christie again to Fletcher. Fletcher comes back against the grain up towards the line, dots it down. Archie Fletcher, I mentioned they'd be looking to get back in the game. Iain, and back in the game they are.
Yeah, really good work there by Currie. I mean, to be fair, you know, I was just about to say at the next break that Currie were just so disorganised in the back line. There was no back line set up, so you know the ball went to Hasdall. Hasdall's got one choice, and that's just to hit up as hard as he can, and he did. He made a couple of yards, made a half break through there, and then it gave an opportunity for Fletcher, and Fletcher's just really he's gone right for the gap, stuck the shoulder in and gone in over the line. And I was going to say it's not really what Currie deserve, and other than the fact that they've had a couple of opportunities just to go into that corner and got away with it. Looks like it's going to be half time, so yeah, I think they got a little bit lucky there, but well done to them, because they were so disorganised in the backs that they didn't really have anything lined up, and Hasdall did just a little bit of brilliance from him and Fletcher.
So the conversion has been well struck, and through the middle it goes by Alex Harley, and the half-time whistle is gone. So it's Currie 12, Watsonians 14, and yeah, no prizes for guessing. I don't think Iain, who's going to be the happier of the two coaches at half-time.
Davy Wilson, his coaching staff will be considerably happier than the Cairns brothers. They've played pretty good rugby. They've played the conditions really well. They've kept a hold of ball, but they've not just kept a hold of ball and trucked up one out. They've used some really good options by going a bit wider and then using that inside ball, which has created gaps as well. And a couple of really good tries. Campbell Wilson, an excellent try, and then Loman McPherson as well, and also had another opportunity to score. Currie, for me, they haven't done enough either just to kick the ball down the other end and just put pressure on Watsonians, or to actually run the ball. They seem to have got caught in the middle of the two, and it hasn't produced what they were looking for.
So an interesting second half coming up here at Malleny, but at half time it's Currie 12, Watsonians 14.
Okay, thank you very much indeed to Robin and Iain, who are at Malleny Park for us today. It's Currie against Watsonians. Interesting scoreline as it stands at the moment. We'll bring you up to date next.
This is Rugby Radio. Rugby Radio.
Borders water, Borders barley and Borders people. That's what makes the Borders Distillery. Working exclusively with local farmers, the Borders Distillery is bringing whiskey making back to the region. Our award-winning distillery is open to everyone, where you can meet the people behind the scenes, explore our wash house and shop quality local products. Tour your local distillery and discover the spirit of the Borders. Full details at thebordersdistillery.com. Always enjoy our spirit responsibly. Under 18s must be accompanied by an adult when visiting the Borders Distillery.
If you're hearing this, then so could your customers. To advertise on Rugby Radio's 2 Saturday shows and also the Scottish Club Rugby podcast, get in touch via our website at rugbyradio.co.uk. Advertising and sponsorship packages are available for the whole season or on a monthly basis. Help support what we do to promote club rugby in Scotland using our contact page at rugbyradio.co.uk.
With over 30 years' experience in print and embroidery, BE Uniforms are one of Scotland's leading rugby teamwear specialists. We currently supply many great clubs across Scotland and the north of England, offering brands such as Adidas, Macron, Canterbury and BE Sport. We have a specialist teamwear team who collectively have over 60 years' experience in the trade, delivering quality teamwear and finding solutions to the challenges out there. If your club is looking for a new supplier and would like to know more, get all the details at beuniforms.co.uk, proud sponsors of Rugby Radio and Borders Rugby TV. BE Uniforms, your identity is our purpose.
This is Rugby Radio. Rugby Radio.
Yes, welcome back to Philip Hawke, where the half-time scoreline is Selkirk 5, Melrose 10. We'll be getting a report on that very shortly, but let's quickly go over to Balgrey. Kelso are at Glasgow Hawks, and waiting for us there, Andrew Fleming.
Half-time here at Balgrey, and it's all to play for in the second half, where the team's tied at 10 points all. Hawks took the lead in opportunistic fashion with just 3 minutes on the clock when a long kick was sent into the Kelso 22. A wicked bounce allowed Hawks to swarm James Thompson when he caught the ball, who was penalised for holding on, and scrum half Callum Reedy took a quick tap before burrowing his way over for a try converted by Liam Brims for 7-0. Kelso did suffer a big blow in the first half when Will Jones was forced off for a leg knock, with the Welsh flanker having made a huge impact at the club since his arrival in the summer. The visitors enjoyed large amounts of possession in the opening 20 minutes, but a combination of handling errors and some dogged defensive work from Hawks meant they were unable to trouble the scoreboard until the half-hour mark, when after a period of possession and a series of phases inside the Hawks 22, Cammy Thompson managed to pounce over the ruck and grounded for the try. Patterson's drill conversion managed to beat the wind and split the post for 7 apiece. On the stroke of half-time, Hawks got their noses in front when Kelso were pinged for an infringement at the ruck, with Liam Brims making no mistake from midway between the 10 and 22. But it was still time for Patterson to respond with a penalty of his own with the clock in the red for a half-time score of Hawks 10, Kelso 10.
So it's Currie 12, WATSONIANS 14. We'll return to Malleny Park very shortly. Heriot 7, GHA 14 is the score at Golden Acre. And here at Philip Hawke, Selkirk 5, Melrose 10. Let's get a half-time report from Hugh Brown.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much indeed, Stuart. Well, Melrose looked as though they were going to walk away with this first half for a long period, with some excellent pressure on the Selkirk line, and in fact they got the first score in 11 minutes courtesy of a penalty from Edinburgh Academy player Rory McHaffey, who popped it between the sticks. In the 25th minute, the first try of the game went also to the visitors from a scrum 5 metres out, and a final touch and was put down by Jack Dobie, converted by Rory McHaffey once again. But Selkirk made a game of it with just right on the whistle for half time, when the number 8 Kieran Westlake got a try on the whistle and brought the suitors back into the game, but the conversion unfortunately was missed. Selkirk though still have it all to do in the second half if they want to get their first win of the season, and on the Border League and the Premiership fixture. Of course, this is a double header today. Half time here at Philip Hawke, it's Selkirk 5, Melrose 10. Now joining me here in the stand at Philip Hawke is Gala's Iain Swinton, and Iain, of course, National 1 not on today, so you're able to come here to Philip Hawke and watch this game.
Yes, and we're out in numbers, I'd have to say, Hugh. There's a banker full of lads who know the words to Bra lads over there, but all enjoying their day out, and we're getting a good game of rugby today, so yeah, all happy to. I don't know about the break, to be honest. It splits opinion, but it's what we've got, and we're taking advantage today, having a day out.
Yes, and absolutely, and you're here actually to talk to me about the South, because the South are back this season. It's great to see that and to hear that, and the first game isn't that far away. It's Friday the 7th of November down at Mansfield Park against Edinburgh.
It's coming up fast. In fact, it'll hit us like a train now. We're seriously in the build-up. A squad is basically picked and almost ready to be released. probably early next week. All of the groundwork at Hoyke's been done, and we're up and running, ready to go. Edinburgh are getting geared up as well, the other districts, so starting to get excited about it, and it's looking good. And it hopefully is this year's looking as if it'll build into a club international of some form as well. So yeah, coming up fast.
That would be great, wouldn't it? 3 matches, of course, one through in Glasgow in December, and then in February it's
Caledonia at Jedburgh. Yeah, that'll be a really cracking night. Friday night lights at Jedburgh, and a beautiful ground, nice and compact, and hopefully lots of the local folk will come out and support.
It's fantastic that the South are back, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the crowd misses it, the players miss it, the motivation for guys to do a wee bit more than work with their club teams is missing. I think we need the extra strand of the club international to really get it going, but I think it's got a level to offer, a lot to offer the crowds of support that isn't there from just the club game. It gives another target, and I think when it's missing, there's a strand missing, so we're all delighted that it's back, and hopefully it'll be well supported and successful.
We're looking forward to it as well. Ewan, thanks for joining me. Ewan Swinton there talking about the South. First match, remember, Friday the 7th of November, and that's at Mansfield Park. Stuart.
And we have an update from Golden Acre. It's now Heriots 14, GHA 14, in National 2, Dundee 12, Highland 17, Newton Stewart 7, Kirkcaldy 19, and Peebles 14, Berwick 0. They're coming out for the second half here at Philiphaugh between Selkirk and Melrose. Let's return though to Malleny Park because they're out there as well. Robin Purdie and Iain Hurd.
Yeah, and it's kicked off here. Iain, it's Currie with the early possession, and that's a brilliant mark being taken, however, by, I think it's Dom Coetzer who's come on for Watsonians. Currie with the early intent in this second half. They're playing into the wind. As a reminder, the score here at half time, Currie 12, Watsonians 14. Watsonians playing at the teeth of the gale in that first half, so Currie, you feel, in this second half here with it all to do, but they've started with a bit of intent. Yeah,
interestingly, they kept possession for 3 or 4 phases, and then Gregor Christie put up the up and under for the box kick, and there wasn't a Watsonians player got within 5 yards of it. So is that what's going to be needed?
Now there's a knock on there by Rhys Davis on the back of that line out, clear as day. The referee had originally said there wasn't, but Gordon Galashan, the AR on this near side,
good
brought
work
that to his attention. Yeah, I was
good
going
work
to say,
there. Yeah, that's what they're there for. So,
and in fairness to Rob McDowell, he couldn't see it. The Burley unit of Rhys Davis was between him and the ball.
And again, that's why you're looking at your positioning between your officials. Is you're not both looking at the same thing. So again, if they'd both been looking at the same thing to miss it, that's where the opportunity there is with the assistant referee there is to help. So that's really good officiating there.
Was indeed. So it's going to be a Watsonian scrum right on halfway, 15 metres in from the stand. Adam McKenzie here, a tidy first half, the recent recruit from Edinburgh Accies. That's a solid Watsonian scrum, solid by Currie as well. So Clark, rangy inside centre, and burst of pace there by Watsonians. They're right through the middle, and they've got a few on one situation. Don't think they took the right option there going as wide as they did, but they're still in possession. They're up into the 22. It was a lovely break there, but a penalty's been awarded to Currie. And for me, and that is a chance that has gone a begging. It's a gilt-edged one as well.
Yeah, really good opportunity again. It's this missed pass. What's the need for the missed pass? They've got an opportunity, and then somebody's chirped back. So you've got Currie even still pinned down there. Their line out's struggling. You've given a penalty away, but then you chirp back and get all of a sudden, instead of being somewhere in between the 10-metre line and the 22, they're now over the halfway line. If they win this line out, they can drive it a bit, and just silly things there. It's just a Watsonians player went off his feet.
Yeah, it was cheap. Now it looks like, is that Cardosi that's going to throw into this line out? The big blindside flanker, yes, Sam Cardosi, and it's been won at the tail by Watsonians. It was stolen by Christian Lindsay, the Edinburgh pro, and so Watsonians are going to get another chance to attack here, albeit still in their own half. It's back with Bell. We spoke about his distribution in the first half, and Coetzer, who's come on, now in possession. The little fullback, Dom Coetzer, lots and lots of Super Rugby experience, and again another carry by Christian Lindsay, one of the top performers so far here this afternoon. Watsonian still in possession. They've not done too much with it from a territorial perspective. Again, another strong carry there by Campbell Wilson. So impressive in the first half, Wilson. And again, that's good distribution by Bell to another impressive performer, Lewis Ball. So Watsonians, as they did so often in the first half, going through the phases here. It's been lost, however. Has that gone forward? No, it's been dabbed forward. I think there's a little grubber in there, so they're still in possession. They've taken about 10 metres there, Watsonians. That's been lost forward by Lewis Ball. It had to admittedly take it off the bootstraps, but again, I think they'll be happy enough, Watsonians, with how this second half has started.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've shown that they've got the opportunity and the ability to make those little half breaks, and then they just need to capitalise on one or two of them. I mean, Currie playing at the wind, you can't really see them scoring an awful lot of points in the second half. So if Watsonians can pick up a try or a couple of tries, and again do what Currie did, is if they do get into the Currie half and get some penalties, just kick for points. 14 becomes 17 becomes 20, and then all of a sudden Currie have got to score tries, and it gets harder and harder to do that into these conditions.
So it's a Currie scrum right on halfway, but they're going to have to reset it. Now Currie did make front row changes just at the end of that first half. Kieran Ramsey came on, Tom Jeffries in there as well. It'll be Gregor Christie, one of the league's standout performers so far this season, to feed the scrum. He's not been quite as impressive this afternoon, though, I think it would be fair to say, but his side are second best at the moment. Currie 12, Watsonians 14, and that was almost intercepted, but it did, as the Watsonians player flew out the line, create a wee bit of space there for the outside centre, Andrew McCall. And that's Rhys Davis. Again, another powerful carry, but again, he's hit hard by a Watsonians defender. They've not shirked the defensive duties so far this afternoon, Watsonians. And it's Davis again, he's up looking for more work, trying to lead by example, as you'd expect. He's trying to up the ante here for the home team. Some of the Watsonians players shouting for crossing there. It was taken in by Fletcher, one of the try scorers in the first half. So Currie just starting to march their way forward here a wee bit, and that's a good carry there, and it's a good offload as well. One prop to the other replacement, Kieran Ramsey, to Edinburgh pro Jamie Stuart. And they've got a few numbers on this near side, Currie. And that's a carry by Ali Bain, the all-action second row. Christie to Harley, and that's a good miss pass to Ryan Daly, and Ryan Daly's got a bit of gas, and again he's tackled hard, Daly, and it goes into touch. Loman McPherson was in there, Andy McLean was in there, but that's better from Currie.
Yeah, definitely. They've had a bit of success when they've got it out wide. The unfortunate thing is that the Watsonians defence were always going to get covering across there, so you're just looking for the wingers just to try and get themselves back inside a little bit, set it up and go again. But yeah, some good big hard carries, Rhys Davis and Ali Bain. These are the two guys, Hasdall and Cardosi and Fletcher in the back row. They're going to have to do a lot of hard graft in this second half just to get themselves on that front foot, to give the likes of Robson and Sayers and Charlie Brett coming in from fullback, to give them some opportunities.
I agree, these Currie forwards are going to have to put in a shift in the second half. The ball must have gone forward there before it went over the touchline, which is going to be a Watsonian scrum. Now the scrums have been fairly even. There was one in the first half that Watsonians marched forward, however, so it'll be Mackenzie to feed, and that's a solid one. Jackman thinks about picking up, and pick up he does, and that looked a bit of a high shot on him by Christie, but the referee seems happy enough. Good carry by the young number 8, the ex-Boroughmuir player, and it's back to Bell. Bell under pressure, and he's got a good connection on that, and that's a good kick by Chris Bell. That's almost from his own try line, right to halfway. In fact, he's nudged it a couple of metres over halfway, and that's a decent punt. Yeah,
it must be an absolute delight after the hard work he's had to put in the first half, to be seeing it coming right off the laces of the boot, as timed as beautifully as you can, to go 20 yards or 5 yards or whatever it might be, and now you're just stroking the ball and it's going 40.
Cardosi right in front of us to throw it in, and that's a good throw by the flanker to Davies, and that'll give the inside centre McCall a chance to hit it up, and there's a little half break. It's turned into a full break by Gregor Christie. Looking for support now, Christie looking to offload. Currie's just starting to pick the pace up a wee bit here, but Watsonian solid enough in defence. That's a good little pump pass there though by the standoff, and that's a check and run by Daly. He stood his man up on the outside. Ryan Daly, round he goes, scores the tries, and Iain, that is a wonderful finish.
That's a great finish there by Daly. You know, he's stood up his winger, his opposite winger, and gone round about him. The hard work was done in midfield though. You know, some big carries. McCall hammered it up off first phase, took in 2 or 3 of the Watsonians players. It brought in a centre and it brought in Bell at standoff as well. And then the ball got moved out, another couple of decent carries, and then it was just quick hands, you know, and releasing the pass at the right time to the right player and not trying to miss out 2 and 3 players at a time. It's like use the ball, draw and pass, and then the winger goes in the corner to put Currie back in the lead. And you know, we talked about playing with the wind, playing against the wind first half before the game. Actually, you know, the teams so far, and we're only a couple of minutes into the second half, the teams that have played better so far have been the teams playing into the wind.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. As we await Alex Harley's conversion attempt into the wind. Struck it well, Harley, but no, it's drifted past. And you're right, Iain, about the passing there, the centre play and then the passing. There was a lovely little pump pass there by Alex Harley, which just checked the defence a wee bit, but wonderful finish by Ryan Daly, who stood his man up, beat his man and sauntered in for the try, which takes it to Currie 17, Watsonians 14.
And here at Philip Hawke, it's exciting stuff because Melrose led by 5 points at the interval, but 3 minutes into the second half, Selkirk drew level with a super touch down the inside by inside centre Brodie Allen. And with the extras added by Maurice Clements, Selkirk found themselves in the lead for the first time. But it was short-lived because the men from the Greenyards scored courtesy of Finn Douglas and the conversion was successful. So we've played about 10 minutes in the second half here at Philip Hawke. Scoreline currently Selkirk 12, Melrose 17.
In the Premiership around the rest of the country, we have Currie 12, Watsonians 14, Glasgow Hawks 17, Kelso 10, Heriots 14, GHA 14. Here at Philip Hawke, it's Selkirk 12, Melrose 17. In National League Division 2, it's Dundee 12, Highland 22, Newton Stuart 14, Kirkcaldy 19, Peebles 21, Berwick 0, and Stew Melville 22, Falkirk 14.
Back here, Currie once again in a prominent attacking position. Big shot in there on Charlie Brett. Christie weighing up the options. They're just shy of the line here, and a Currie forward. It was a loose pass, but Currie forward's taken it, and Christie again. He's going to go to Cardosi. Cardosi's got Ryan Davis loitering. They're in the shadow of the post here as well, Currie, so they've had a brilliant start to this second half as they trundle it towards the line, held up just short. Looking at the referee, it's going to come back on the Currie side. Fletcher's in and around it. One of the forwards has a dart, has a nibble, dragged to deck, and back it comes, and round the corner comes the substitute prop. That's Cairn Ramsey, but Watsonians manful defence holding him up for the time being. But back against the grain comes Harley, and a little shaft of light opened up there for Christie. They're just short here. Currie. Go Currie! Oh, good defence there by Loman McPherson. He's driven the Currie player back into the ruck. The outside centre, but it's still on the Currie side, and Cairn Ramsey looks like he's going to pick and go. Ramsey again just short. Quagga Kneekirk's in there for Watsonians. All about the forwards here for the home team. Just waiting now. They're going to pick and drive here again towards the line, and again it's held up just short. Christie's going to dig for this now. Christie with a longer pass this time. Floats it onto the far side to Ryan Daly. Ryan Daly dots it down. Second try of the afternoon. Second try in quick succession for Ryan Daly. There's a bit of daylight, Iain, but also there's a bonus point in the bag.
Yeah, superb play by Currie. They've just come out second half. It's interesting, that's like, again, although there was a number of phases after this, but that all came from the box kick from Gregor Christie. He put that up in the air. It blew back in the wind. First player there was Bain, Ali Bain from Currie, who took it and just took on the charge, and then that puts Currie on the front foot. The phase after phase after phase, they've recycled the ball really well, and then, you know, eventually Christie realised that Ryan Daly had an opportunity on the outside and threw that long pass which got to him. So yeah, I mean, again, it's using not so much using the wind, but playing better to the conditions. Again, Watsonians had an opportunity to clear the lines. What would they have done in the first half? They'd have kept a hold of the ball. This time they try and just boot one long. Chris Bell gets his kick charged down, and it puts them back under pressure again.
Yeah, they've certainly been under pressure in the last few minutes. Now, the conversion understandably was missed, the touchline conversion into the wind, but it's an 8-point ball game here at Malleny. It's Currie 22 all of a sudden, Watsonians 14, and Rhys Davis with an acrobatic taking off the kickoff there. 15 minutes gone in the second half, and that's another up and under. It's a testing one for Coetzer. He's done well to take it though, the diminutive but pacey fullback. He's caught on halfway. Currie very much have upped the tempo here, and that's been knocked on by Christian Lindsay and picked up by a Currie player, but double knock on there. I think that's Christian Lindsay's first error of the afternoon, the young second row. Iain, it just shows that Watsonians are rattled a wee bit.
Yeah, there's a complete change in the aggression from Currie. I mean, that's twice Ali Bain has just basically stood 3 or 4 metres behind the gain line or the offside line, and he's just taken a charge at the opposition when the ball's coming out. And both times it's not been the greatest of passes, but the opposition player, I think it was Ball the first time and Lindsay that time, had a look, saw him coming towards him and thought, no, I'm not so keen on this, and has dropped the ball. So, you know, they've obviously had I would imagine Mark Keynes or Stern talking at half time, and they've actually come out, they're responded, and they're actually very much on the front foot now.
Yeah, they absolutely are. I agree with you, and I think the 2 second rows in this second half for Currie have been absolutely massive. Now Murray Scott, the experienced ex-Super Series Watsonians scrum half, has come on for Mackenzie. Oh, and that's been knocked on there at the back by Hasdall, and again a bit of a collector's item. You don't see that too often.
Yeah, I mean, when he gets the ball, he's very dynamic. Certainly off the back of the scrum, not quite so. You know, it's maybe something he needs to work on, is that, you know, the ability to just pick and go as quickly as he can. But certainly when he gets the ball in open field, you know, it's not one you'd fancy tackling too much.
No, you don't want to be anywhere near him when he gets ahead of steam up. But his small error there's gifted possession back to Watsonians right on halfway. So Watsonians just looking to get a foothold back in this game now. As mentioned, the experienced Murray Scott has come into the fray. He played well at Selkirk when we last seen Watsonians. Again, he came on for Mackenzie and there was no drop off, so he feeds this scrum. Solid scrum. What Currie's scrum shored up a wee bit since the subs came on, and it's Coetzer. Over the far side's Harry Fisher, the winger, but again good Currie defence. They're up to the 10-metre line though, Watsonians, and it's back with Ball. Ball's taking a couple of Currie players with him. So Murray Scott out to Bell, and that's to Lambert, and that's a big shot on Lamberton in the middle of the park though. That was the prop, Jamie Stuart, and that's another loose pass here, and Ryan Daly's interested in this on a hat-trick. Of course, Daly, he's upped his game in the second half as well. So Watsonians in retreat here, a bit of loose play, but they've managed to keep the ball. They've got a man down in the middle of the park here. It's Lambert in, but he's gingerly back to his feet and heading back into the line. So Quagga Van Niekerk takes it route one. Watsonians, of course, playing with a bit of a breeze at their back. Not being able to do too much with it in the second half, though. It's been all Currie. So they try and go route one again, Watsonians, but the Currie defence are up to that. So Scott has to go in and girdle for it. He's asking for a favour from his forwards, looking for a bit more protection there. So they formed a bit of a caterpillar for the little scrum half, and it looks like he's going to box kick it here, and box kick it he does, and the wind's got hold of that. So it's actually gone too far, and it's Charlie Brett, the dangerous Charlie Brett, and that is a ridiculous dummy. And then the goosey by Charlie Brett takes it back into the Currie half, and that's good hands by Currie as well, and that's come on to McCall up this near touch line, very much in the driving seat now, Currie, and again it's Davis, very prominent in this second half. The Welshman, Cardosi to Daly, and now it's Bain. Bain's dragged to deck, and Quagga Van Niekerk's in there, but Cardosi's got it off, and it's been fumbled in the act of trying to gather it in by Daly. So Watsonians with a bit of advantage here, but they're inside their own 22. Spent much of this second half in their own half, and Chris Bell's sent that down the park, and that's another meaty punt by Chris Bell. A pressure relieving kick at that, and they are on the far side. Rosie Evans is taking up camp the other side of the Currie 10-metre line, so that's a very timely relieving intervention there by Chris Bell, not for the first time in this second half. He's put the laces through it, but it will be a Currie line out. And who's coming over to take this line? It looks like it's still going to be Cardosi, not the regular hooker, of course, not even the hooker, back row, and he's gone straight forward there to the front, and it's been taken in well at the front by Davis. So Currie has been dropped, however, in the middle of that maul. So that's an error in there by the Currie forward. So Watsonians now will have a scrum. They're going to come in the 15, and just going back to Chris Bell. Iain, how happy with his forwards have been there, camped deep inside their own 22, and he sent it, I don't know, halfway at the Pentlands.
Oh, massively. I mean, if you look up, you've managed to get a turnover. You're playing an advantage, and you look up and you're now 60-70 metres down the pitch, and also, as the winds start to pick up a little bit, it's putting more pressure on Cardosi, who's having to throw the ball in. So you're thinking, yep, we've got a chance to get the ball back. This is a really important opportunity here for Watsonians. You feel that they have to really get something out of this period of play, because they're back down in the Currie half, and they've surrendered a really good lead at half time, and I think this is their opportunity to get back into the game.
I would have to agree with that. So it'll be Scott to feed. Solid scrum as it's been all afternoon. Scott, he's going to go to Clark at first receiver, so that's going to come out the back. No, it's been fumbled by Loman McPherson, and Currie now with a chance. Daly to Cody McGovern, who's came on. McGovern back in the harness here at Malleny Park, and again out the back door there to McCall, or Robeson rather, the centre partner. Tom Jeffrey, that's a big hit on Tom Jeffrey. They're still inside their own half, Currie, and that's a charge down kick as well, and it's been hacked forward there and hacked forward again by a Watsonians player, and there's a foot race on here, but back goes McGovern. Now is he going to be caught behind his own line? He's done well so far, Cody McGovern, and he's managed to evade the dead ball area, but he's run into touch, and all of a sudden he's become a bit I'm scaring, but Watsonians right where they want to be right now.
Yeah, definitely an interesting situation there. I think, although playing for different clubs, I think they're very good mates, Cody McGovern and Campbell Wilson, just chasing each other down there, and they did the right thing to play the ball away from that contact after the Watsonians player had knocked it on, but they put themselves under pressure, and just trying to get that ball away with a kick that wasn't really on has put them under real pressure. And you've got to look at this and think, Watsonians catch and drive here, is that going to get them back into the game?
So the line out's just about to be taken. They're 5 metres out, and it's been fumbled and knocked on, and Cardosi's kicked it back to touch.
Is there anything this Cardosi can't do? He takes the ball up, he can throw the ball in, he's kicking ball now. Yeah, he's had a good game so far, Cardosi. Some of the things he's not normally required to do, but that again, that's a gilt-edged opportunity gone a begging. Substitute coming on here, and that's a big lump of a man in the shape of Andrew McInnes. He's going to replace Edinburgh pro Christian Lindsay by the looks of things. And also on is that Matt Pritchard coming on as well. So ringing the changes now as we await this Watsonians line out. Pritchard heel, McInnes heel going to the second row rather, and it looks like Pritchard is coming straight across to take this throw in. Takes his time. Currie throw a man up, and it's gone to the front, and the referee's awarded a free kick to Currie. That was all a bit of a shambles from Watsonians' perspective, and it's been taken by Rhys Davis minus the headgear now. Rhys Davis, so you know he means business. Thought about the box kick. Did Christie, goes back to Cardosi, who hits it up. Christie again, but Watsonians have got bodies through that, and it looked like a wee bit of a punch was thrown there by somebody, and a penalty's been awarded to Watsonians. Now this is kickable. Did I see somebody swing one there, Iain? I wouldn't be 100% certain. I think there was arms flailing and guys trying to get clear. I didn't see anything particularly clear as a punch, but I always find that an interesting situation. You've got an attacking line out, your hooker's been finding his man all day, and you bring your hooker on at that point. Why not wait until the next phase of play when it's actually not a throw-in? The new hooker Pritchard comes on, and it's all over the place, and they've given up a really good opportunity. Granted, they've got it back again, but yeah, strange decision by the coaching team there, I think.
24 minutes gone in this second half. It's Currie 22, Watsonians 14. Now they spurned the opportunity to go for the posts, Watsonians, in favour of kicking a touch. So it'll be another bite of the cherry for Matt Pritchard, the substitute hooker, third substitute hooker so far this afternoon. Lost the first one very early on, and again that line out has not gone according to plan. So again it will be taken up there, and that's an offload by Hasdell to McCall, who was coming at pace, and they've got numbers again on the near side. That's a long floated pass to Charlie Brett, and Charlie Brett comes back against the grain and is hit hard by a couple of Watsonians players, and there's a Watsonians player in over that, and they're screaming for a penalty but nothing doing. So Gregor Christie kicks it to touch, and that's gone over the head of Dom Coates and drifted into touch. Good exit by Currie, but again, Iain, these chances for Watsonians, they're going to have to take one sooner or later.
Yeah, exactly. It's just one of these things that you look at and you go, yeah, I appreciate the guys have got to get game time and they've got to come off and so on and so forth, but they've been really accurate with their throw-ins, and they bring us another hooker on, and it's a little bit laughable, and that's the third hooker they've had in their squad today, and Currie are struggling for one.
Yep, that's right. That's a very good point. And this time there's an overthrow, but it's been taken in at the back by Jackaman, and that's enabled Jackaman to steal a few metres there. Scott to Bell, to Clark, back inside to Ball. Ball again, he's tackled well in the middle of the park, and a little shaft of light opens up for Scott, and Scott jinks his way through it. Only half scragged, so Vos sells the dummy and then sticks it up the jumper, goes route one. They're back up towards the 22 here, and it's Campbell Wilson scored a wonderful try in the first half, and again it's Ball, and again that's an offload that looked forward. There was a little 1-2 in there, and again another dummy's been sold by the scrum half, and they're into the 22 now, Watsonians, and a penalty's been awarded to Currie, and nothing at all going right for the Meyer side men at the moment. Currie 22, Watsonians 14, and Currie just look happy to soak this up here at the moment.
Yeah, I mean they're doing the right thing. Watsonians have gone to where Currie were in the first half, which is trying to go route one and just picking drives, and it didn't work.
Oh, and the penalty kick, the touch has not gone to touch, so here come Watsonians again, and I think the Currie players had switched off a wee bit there. Campbell Wilson hauled down on the 22, Scott to Lamberton. Lamberton trucks it up into the heavy Currie artillery. Oh, and that's a clean out on the 9 there, and that's a penalty all day long, and it'll be lucky for it just to be a penalty. It was Jamie Stewart, the Edinburgh prop, and Vos now on the charge. They've taken the penalty quickly, Watsonians, and again it's been fumbled and it's been knocked on, and there was no advantage, of course. It was Jackaman with a knock on, and again they try and attempt to clear for touch Currie, and it's not gone to touch, so it's back with Coetzer, and Coetzer sees a little bit of space up the far side. He's got a man on his inside. It was Donald Vos, and he didn't take the opportunity to pass it to Vos. He dummied and tried to bash his way through the contact. I'd seen him put a foot in touch, Iain, and did he look inside there and see it was a Burley prop rather than a back?
Even if he saw inside and saw it was a Burley prop, it was on, you know, and the thing is, if he puts it back inside and then he supports after that, then he keeps the ball alive. As it happens, he's gone into touch, and it looks like it was Harley, the standoff, who made a fantastic tackle there on Coetzer, who made again a great break. So some really good rugby, but again, Watsonians, for everything that they did in the first half, that was calm, that was cool, that was calculated, and was the right thing to do, they've done the exact opposite in the second half. They've made mistakes, they've taken wrong options, they've not given the pass when they could have done, and they must be really frustrated at the way things have gone. Currie have just basically come out, and their line speed's so much better. Bain and Davis are leading off the line. Hasdell's, when he gets the ball, and I still, I can't believe they're not using him more often than they do. But they've just come out with a bit more aggression, and Watsonians haven't been able to cope with it.
So game of two halves so far here at Malleny. It's Currie 22, Watsonians 14.
And here at Philip Hawke, it's game on, that's for sure, because although Melrose scored a third try in the 54th minute, given to Doug Crawford under a pile of players, and converted again by Rory McHaffey to make it 24-12, Selkirk came back with a brilliant score by co-captain Andrew McComb, converted by Ross Wolfenden, the Edinburgh Academy rugby player, to bring them within just 5 points of the visitors. So with about 13 minutes left to play here at Philip Hawke, current scoreline is Selkirk 19, Melrose 24.
And with the scores from around the country in the Premiership, as we've heard, it's Currie 22, WATSONIANS 14, Glasgow Hawks 22, Kelso 10, Heriots 14, GHA 14, Selkirk 19, Melrose 24. In National League Division 2, we have Dundee on 19, Highland 38, Newton Stuart 21, Kirkcaldy 19, Peebles 21, Berwick 0, Stuart Melville 32, Falkirk 21.
We're just awaiting the line out to be taken here, the Currie line out, deep inside their own 22. Another good throw there by Cardosi, and it goes to the front and it goes to his man, so they've taken it in here. Looking to exit, and exit they do through the trusty right boot of Gregor Christie, and that's a tricky one to take for Fisher, but Fisher's taken it and trundles it, trucks it back towards the 22 and got a wee bit isolated there. A big shot on Matt Pritchard. And Currie again got players over that, but it's came back on the Watsonian side, so it's Bell to Coetzer. Coetzer's made an impact since he came on, and Longman McPherson, one of the try scorers, he was well tackled there by McCall. So Watsonians, lots of huff and puff in this second half. Big tackle in there by Fletcher, but the referee's seen that that's been slightly high, so little chip forward there looking for Coetzer. That was smart play, but it was well read by Gregor Christie, and Gregor Christie's just rolled the ball away there. So penalty to Watsonians. Now this again, Iain, this is imminently kickable. 22 points to 14. Oh yeah, and eventually
absolutely
points, taking the points is back in fashion.
Well, I think you've got to look at it and say you've had a bit of a shocker a second half. You're away from home, you're 8 points down, you kick this, you're within 7 points, so you've got your bonus point guaranteed. And then there's every possibility that from the kickoff, if you secure the kickoff, you can bang it down the bottom end. You might get a 50-22, but if nothing else, if a good chase, you're putting pressure on your opposition. So yeah, absolutely 100% correct decision in my opinion.
Harry Clark it'll be to take the penalty. Came up from George Watson's College this season. One penalty and a conversion to his name so far this season. With the wind, struck it well, no mistake whatsoever, so through it sails, 22 points to 17. And Iain, yeah, you had a sense there with Watsonians, everything that we've thrown at Currie in this second half, they've managed to deal with pretty easily. Let's just get something.
Yeah, absolutely. Get down there, get some points, get yourself within a bonus point, and then, get back down the other end.
Kickoff's been taken by Charlie Brett, taken in by a Watsonians player. He tried to go as far as possible with it. Brett taking no chances of it not going 10. So just outside the Watsonians 22, it's Matt Pritchard to take it in. Scott burrowing at the base of this. Back to Bell. Now we've seen Bell's boot so far in the second half, and again that's another big kick, but Currie have got players back there. Now here's Hadsel with a chance to get ahead of steam up. The big number 8 Hasdall, that was his MO there. Decent carry there by Anderson, who's came back on. Christie to Harley. Oh, huge shot on Charlie Brett. Textbook stuff by Lewis Ball. He's been really impressive this afternoon in the Watsonians jersey. Currie now still in possession but not doing too much with it. Bain, another tackle flies in there by Ball. He's been a wrecking ball this afternoon. You could say that was not intentional. And that's been well taken in there by Fisher. I think it was a bouncing ball. There was Currie players in and around it, and that's been put high in the sky by Coetzer, and that's going to bounce somewhere. Now that's going to bounce infield. Where's it going to end up? This could go dead, Iain. Oh, and eventually it's flopped on by Alex Harley. Now that bounced infield. It could have been a 50-22. It bounced infield, then for 1 second it looked like it was going to go dead, but
Yeah, it's probably ended up slightly better than a 50-22 actually, because Currie are going to have to drop out from their own goal line. It's interesting, that long kick there by Chris Bell. There was a massive gap between the Currie defensive line and the fullback and the two wingers. There was about 40-50 yards between those two lines, and for me, that little chip kick into that area might have made a big difference.
And that's going to become a contestable dropout now. This has been palmed back over the dead ball line by a Currie player, and Gregor Christie's been caught behind his own line now. That's going to be a 5 metre scrum at Watsonians. What happened there, Iain, was that Charlie Brett tried to absolutely hoof it. The wind caught it. It became a contestable kick. A Currie player palmed it back because it was contestable, but only succeeded in palming it right back behind his own goal line. And Gregor Christie, his scrum half, said, "Thanks very much, mate. I'm going to have to tidy up this mess," and got caught behind the touchline. Now it's a Watsonians 5 metre scrum. Yeah,
it was one of these sort of really unlucky situations, as it's come off the side of his boot a little bit, just gone up, held up in the wind, and the Currie player's done well to go and win the ball, but unfortunately it's put his team under a bit of pressure.
So here comes the scrum. It's around 35 minutes. There's around 35 minutes gone in this second half. It's a 5 metre scrum to Watsonians. Currie 22, Watsonians 17. Murray Scott to feed, solid scrum. Jackaman at the back, and Jackaman's picked up and gone here. Jackaman towards the line, decent carry by the youngster. Currie frantically trying to keep them out. They're going to go through the forwards here, and it's the substitute Pritchard. Is he over the line? Pritchard, no, held up just short, so they're going to have to regurgitate it here. Vos is in and around it, Lamberton's in and around it. That looks like Lamberton. Are they up towards the line? Held up over the line, and Currie have managed to repel that charge by Cole Lamberton. And how many chances are they going to spurn?
Yeah, it's one of these situations, is that around about that ruck and maul very close to the line, sometimes just somebody goes too much.
Yeah.
And actually it's better just to keep going maybe one or two phases more, so just hit and try and roll it back, because the defence does a really good job there of getting themselves underneath the ball, stopping that ball, and they know they're going to have the goal line drop out from here.
That's it. They were quite easily set, the defence, and that's a loose, I was going to say that's a shanked restart or a shanked dropout from his try line by Charlie Brett. He really is trying to do his level best with them, but he's managed to somehow get it up and out the 22. It's going to be a Watsonians line out. Now these have not went so well in recent times, so can Pritchard find his man here? He's just starting to pile the pressure on Watsonians, and that's better. He's taken in the middle by McInnes here, so they're going to try and get to build something. Campbell Wilson, impressive performer. Scott, Pritchard again. That's a big shot on Pritchard. That was high. I thought that was high from here, and the referee agrees. So playing with a free ball here, Watsonians, and that's gone out on the far side. There's a bit of space opened up for, I think that was Fisher. He's been well tackled. Is the advantage gone? There's a high shot in there. No, the referee's going to bring them back for the high tackle on Pritchard. He's been busy since he came on, Pritchard, but that was a hefty one he's taken there. So 22 points to 17, Watsonians trail. Not long left in this game by my watch, 5 minutes maybe. And Kutzer sends it to the touchline. No thought of taking the 3 points on offer on that occasion. So Watsonians with a line out. Pritchard trundling over to take it. Tough afternoon for the Hookers at the touchline. Vos coming across to give him the instruction. This is around 15 metres or so from the Currie try line. Currie 22, Watsonians 17, and he's gone to McInnes in the middle, and it's been taken in clearly, and they're trying to drive this, and he's at the tiller now. Matt Pritchard, stoic enough Currie defence at the moment, but it's just starting to move forward a wee bit now. Currie players on. It's been stolen there by Fletcher of Currie, but illegally so, says the referee. So another penalty coming the way of Watsonians. Andy McLean's there asking for guidance from the skipper. Quagga van Niekerk, I think, has said to, no, I think Van Niekerk said to tap and go this. So it's ball's tapped it. He runs headlong into the Currie forwards. Van Niekerk, that's gone out the back to nobody in particular, so Lambert has to flop on it. Currie have got players in and around it, so Watsonians, that's been dabbed forward and marked by a Currie player. Now it's been taken quickly by said Currie player, and now they're off and running. Can they go coast to coast? This looks like Ryan Daly. Now Daly's on a hat-trick up towards halfway. That's gone loose, but Christie's managed to gather it. That was shambolic by Watsonians, you have to say, down towards the try line. Currie now still with it. Halfway. Oh, there's a clash of heads in there. That looked like a big collision. And there's a break on there by Christie. He's grown into this game, Christie. Cardosi with the scrum half pass. Oh, nice intervention there by Charlie Brett. Now it's Fletcher. Fletcher has got Coates for company. They're into the Watsonians half now. Hasdall to Anderson. Anderson takes it in. They'll potentially can run down the clock here. Currie by keeping possession. Charlie Brett, good footwork by Brett. Scragged, however, takes it to deck, and there's a Watsonians player in there. They're screaming for a penalty. Is he trying to get out of there? It's Cole Lambert, and yeah, he finally gets out of there. Good work by the big prop, but they're still in possession here, Currie. Christie weighs up his options, goes to Jeffrey. Jeffrey's got the impressive Rhys Davis for company. Christie again to Anderson. Anderson's hit hard there by Ball of Watsonians. Christie digging like a mole for the ball at the base of that ruck. He's gone to Cardosi. Christie again. Christie will go to Fletcher. Fletcher, who stole the ball a minute ago, gave away the penalty, but Watsonians unable to do anything with it. Watsonians desperate to get their hands back on this ball, but Currie content to wind the clock down by 1 out. Pick and goes, but that's one scrum half scragging the other, but he's done well to get that back on the Currie side, Christie, but he's caught in there, so one of the forwards will pick and go, no doubt, and that man is Rhys Davis. Davis, the co-captain. Captain's knock in this second half for sure by Davis. Iain, there's a man of the match to be picked. We'll come back to that in just a second because Currie are still in possession. Watsonians thinking about going in for it, but not Watsonians player not rolling away, so Currie forward comes to drag him out of there. Gregor Christie looking to Mr. McDowell for a penalty. Multi-face play. Kieran Ramsey, the latest to drive headlong into these Watsonians forward. It's come out on the Watsonian side, so Watsonians now with the ball. It's Bell, and it's out there to Fisher. Now can Fisher do his man? He stood him up, and he's up and into the Currie half here, and again it's gone loose, and it's been flopped on by a Watsonians player. Here I'm scared, I'm stuff here towards the death. Pritchard dabs it onto another Watsonians forward, and they're up towards the 10 metre line here. Watsonians got men on this near side, and that's the little fullback Andy McLean, who's well tackled, and Hasdall's in there, and again Campbell Wilson picks and drives. Fletcher's in there for Currie. Lambert in, he's carried manfully this afternoon. The prop, and has a penalty been awarded? No, the crowd were screaming for one. They thought the Watsonians player had held on a fraction too long, as Harry Clark takes it in for Watsonians, but they're back inside their own half. The Meyer side men running out of ideas a wee bit here, so it comes to Bell, and Bell weighs up the situation, and he's only got Currie forwards in front of him, and a pick and go by a Watsonians player. The Currie crowd screaming for a penalty here as the temperature heats up. Some industrial language here, apologies if you heard it. Good strong hit there by Charlie Brett on Harry Clark. Crowd are getting right into this. The Currie faithful. Lambert in again, this time he goes out the back, and Pritchard's there, and Pritchard tries to, and he offloads it, Pritchard to Clark. That was a nice little half break. It's been taken by Coates, and Coates gone, but it's gone forward before Coates can pick up, and Rob McDowell blows his whistle. The crowd are in raptures. The Currie second team are in raptures. There's bodies strewn everywhere, and Iain, that was quite the context.
Yeah, great finish there. I mean, there was lots of really good things to take out of that, lots of really dubious things to take out of it as well, but do you know what, it was a cracking game of rugby in the end. as we said at the very outset, it was going to be a game of two halves. Watsonians will be extremely disappointed that they didn't just press home their first half advantage. You know, they really should have put that game out of sight early on in the second half. Currie, dogged determination, they kept in there. They managed to get a couple of tries in. They did exactly what Watsonians did in the first half, which is they actually took the ball on, they used the ball better than Watsonians did, and it was a good finish there. I actually thought there was a couple of times where Currie were actually a little bit unlucky not to get a penalty for turning the ball over, but fantastic game of rugby, exciting, lots of mistakes, lots of good stuff, lots of bad stuff, but yeah, very enjoyable.
And Iain, you've got the Rugby Radio Man of the Match, sponsored by Oak and Black, to select. We had a Watsonians player nailed on at half time, but I dare say that'll have changed now.
Yeah, I think it's a difficult one because Currie's was such a great team effort. I mean, obviously Ryan Daly scored two great tries. Cardosi to play wing forward, to throw in, he did a lot of really good stuff. But yeah, for me, I think just because of the leadership, the ability just to take the ball on, it was a very close run thing. The 2 second rows, I think, were probably the best players on the day from Currie, and again, the leadership thing, I think for me, just Rhys Davis just edges it for man of the match, for the Oak and Black man of the match.
Yeah, congratulations to Rhys Davis. I have to say I agree wholeheartedly. I thought he was absolutely outstanding in the second half, played brilliantly, leader of men, but it is finished here at Malleny Park. Currie 22, Watsonians 17.
Thank you to Robin and Iain. I will go down and get some reaction from that game very, very soon. It's finished here as well at Philip Hawke. It's Selkirk against Melrose, and we can bring in Hugh Brown.
Absolutely amazing. It has just finished, and Selkirk get their first win of the season in a pulsating and ever-changing Border League and Premiership clash. Melrose led by 5 points at the interval, but 3 minutes into the second half, Selkirk drew level with a super touch down by inside centre Brodie Allen, with the extras added by Maurice Clements. Selkirk found themselves in the lead for the first time then, but it was short-lived as the men from the Green Yard scored, courtesy of Finn Douglas, converted by Doug Crawford. But the Melrose were in the ascendancy at that point with a third try in 54 minutes, given again to Doug Crawford under a pile of prayers. Again, conversion, this time by Roddy McHaffey, was successful. Selkirk came back with a brilliant score by co-captain Andrew McComb, converted by Ross Wolfenden in 64 minutes to bring them within just 5 points of Melrose. Then a lovely period of passing by the home side was rewarded with a bonus point try for my man of the match, Ross Wolfenden, of course from Edinburgh Rugby Academy, who then converted his own score to take Selkirk in front by 2 points. And despite throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, at the suitors, Melrose just couldn't get a break forward towards their opponent's try line. I'm still catching my breath. It was an absolutely brilliant match to watch for the crowd here at Philip Hawke, and it finished Selkirk 26, Melrose 24.
Rhys Davis is with Robin.
Thanks, Stuart. Yes, I'm just going to get the headphones on. Big Rhys Davis, if I could get you to stick them on. Brilliant win, a bonus point win.
Yes.
A very much a game of two halves.
Yeah, I mean, going into the half there, we knew that the wind would have a difference. We wanted to start into the wind, but kept it really tight. Probably we didn't play the conditions all that well, I'll be honest, but it just meant that it was a real leveller, and we knew it was going to be a physical half, and I think the boys fronted up in the end.
And I was going to ask you about the wind, Rhys. Does there come a sense of pressure playing with the wind at your back, and then all of a sudden, we're not 20 points up?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like we could have used it so much more. I think eventually in the second half we got a lot of purchase off of our box kicks, and that would maybe, they sort of came unstuck under them. They couldn't read it, and in fairness, we probably should have used that tactic a bit more. It's something we've been working on a lot. So, we'll take a lot of learnings from this as well.
And what was said at half time? Was it the rocket, or was it calm and composed?
I don't know if you could hear from here, but it was certainly a rocket. We have such high expectations of ourselves, and I think we felt like the first 40 minutes we were just waiting on the game coming to us. The coaches are very honest with us, and they probably pride themselves on telling us exactly how it is. And sometimes you do need a rocket, and I feel like we came out in the second half and played much more to our style and our culture.
And looking forward on the back of this win today, Rhys, I think that's five from 6 for you guys. You march on to the Green Yards.
That's right.
Next week. That's going to be a tough game, but certainly a winnable one.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, anything can happen down in Hawick. It's such a abrasive place to play. They've got a decent style of rugby, which is very forwards driven, and it's always a challenge, so we never go down there expecting anything.
Well, thanks for joining us, Rhys. You are today's Oak and Black man of the match. Congratulations.
That's grand. Thanks very much.
Thank you to Robin. We'll return there very, very shortly to get some post-match reaction, as we will do here as well. Doug Crawford from Melrose, and hopefully Corrie Tate from Selkirk will be up here as well. We'll be back very shortly with the results as well.
This is Rugby Radio. Rugby Radio.
Based in Galashiels but covering the whole region and beyond, Borders Mortgage Hub is your one-stop shop for all things mortgage related in the Borders. Visit us at bordersmortgagehub.com or call us on 01896 807 008. That's 01896 807 008. Borders Mortgage Hub. Mortgages for the Borders in the Borders.
Borders Mortgage Hub.
With over 30 years' experience in print and embroidery, BE Uniforms are one of Scotland's leading rugby teamwear specialists. We currently supply many great clubs across Scotland and the north of England, offering brands such as Adidas, Macron, Canterbury and BE Sport. We have a specialist teamwear team who collectively have over 60 years' experience in the trade, delivering quality teamwear and finding solutions to the challenges out there. If your club is looking for a new supplier and would like to know more, get all the details at beuniforms.co.uk, proud sponsors of Rugby Radio and Borders Rugby TV. BE Uniforms, your identity is our purpose.
This is Rugby Radio. Rugby Radio.
Yes, welcome back to Philiphaugh. It ended here with a win for Selkirk this afternoon by 26 points to 24, and Hugh Brown's got some guests with him.
I do indeed. I have Corrie Tate with the Corrie. What a game. How was it to play in?
It was a tough one. Melrose gave us everything they got. We got over the game line at the end, but no, it's massive for the club, especially with such a struggle towards the start of the season. To get that first one on the board and get ourselves kind of ticking over it's a big thing for us.
Yes, there was a lot at stake because, as you say, 5 games, no wins, and of course you're also the defending Border League champions, and this was a double header.
Mm-hmm. No, it's massive. Border League's obviously something big for us as well. Like you say, we won it, so we kind of take a bit of pride in kind of trying to retain that. But kind of the hunt starts now. We've got that first win on the board, so we just kind of go from here. We finally kind of got that 80-minute performance and managed what we're capable of. We obviously it wasn't pretty, and it was a tight game. It's always going to be tight, those border games, but no, we are just happy to get the 5 points on the board.
For me, one of the differences between the teams actually was your Edinburgh Academy rugby player Ross Wolfenden, who was just brilliant.
Yeah, no, Ross came on and played well. We were lucky enough to have the 3 boys today, Ross and Mac. So they definitely kind of came in and helped us in every way they could. They bought into kind of our system and our structure, and really kind of took on board what we were trying to help them with on Thursday.
This really will give Selkirk a boost, won't it?
Yeah, no, massive. It's just in terms of morale as well. Like, you kind of find yourself getting into a rut, and you kind of get into the habit of it if you start to lose games constantly. So to get that first one on the board, like I've said, it's massive. It's kind of almost like that kind of spark to start our season. And
did the weather play a part? It wasn't a kicker's game because of the strong winds.
Yeah, no. We kind of knew going into the game it was going to be a bit of a kind of windy battle. The rain was lucky enough to stay off. It kind of started to show in the warm-up, but we were lucky enough it stayed off. But we kind of had a bit of a game plan in terms of that. Some things worked, some things didn't, but we managed to get over that in the end. So.
Well, congratulations. It is brilliant for you to get your first win on the board, and it really sets Selkirk up for future weeks, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally. Now we just kind of kick on from here, take our learnings, and we go against Hawks next week, back on this pitch.
Well done. Thanks, Corrie, for joining me. Corrie Tate from Selkirk, and joining me now from the opposition is Doug Crawford from Melrose. You know, Doug, if Corrie's delighted, you must be really gutted.
Yeah, gutted's a good word to use. You know, that's been, I don't know how many games now within a score that we've just fallen short, and I think when we look back at it's all games that we really should have closed out, and that's not taking anything away from Selkirk. You know, they played a really expansive game in the second half, probably used the wind a bit more effectively than we did, and just moments of ill discipline, moments maybe of wrong decisions, just let them into the game in the first half, and then I thought at 24-12 up, we've got a really good chance here. We get a scrum penalty against us on the halfway after such dominance, which was a confusing one, but hey, that happens sometimes, and then they go on and score. So look, we'll need to come together as a group now and figure this one out pretty quickly, because we've got Watsonians at home, and although at home we seem to be playing really well. So just seems to be when we're on the road we fall off it a wee bit. So
you did say you were 12 points ahead. Did Selkirk win the match, or did Melrose lose the match?
I don't want to take it away from Selkirk and say it felt like we lost it, but it seems to be a recurring theme. Currie, we had a lead and we fell off it again. Kelso, it just seems to be a recurring theme, but at the same time Selkirk had to take the chances, and if you look at us in the first half, we get one called for knock on. Again, thought that was maybe down. Paddy Anderson gets a high tackle on the corner. We could have scored there. So yeah, a few chances went slipping in the first half, and they took every one they got in the second half. So if you don't take your chances, you're going to find yourself on the wrong side of a result. So yeah, disappointing.
Scott White will not be a happy man tonight.
No, and quite rightly, and I don't think anyone's happy in the group. We started the season on such a high note against Heriots at home, and we just have failed to back it up, and we now find ourselves in a situation where we're going to need to pick up points from every game and pick up wins. Yes, we're picking up losing bonus points here and there, but unless you're getting 4 points, 5 points each week, you're going to find yourself in a fight at the bottom. And our aspirations at the start of the year were to be at the top of the Border League and in the top 4 for the Premiership. Today was a double header, and that makes it double the pain. So we'll come together early next week, review this one, and then prep as best as we can for Watsonians.
Yeah, we wish you well with that. Hard lines today. It was a really enjoyable match for the neutral to watch.
Yeah, I think fair play to both teams. Good game in tough conditions, because I don't know if a wind picked up on the mic, but it was it was blowing pretty hard out there.
Doug, thank you very much indeed for joining me. I appreciate it. That's Doug Crawford of Melrose.
We can go back to Malleny Park now, and more interviews from Robin Purdie.
Watsonian skipper Quagga van Niekerk. Quagga, as I mentioned to Reece, they're very much a game of two halves. You did brilliantly in that first half into the wind.
Yeah, definitely. Like you say, it's a game of two halves, and I think we managed to get better in the first half, and then when we thought like we had the wind behind us second half, we just didn't use the opportunities, didn't pin them in the corners, and that was the result at the end of the day.
And I was going to ask you about that actually in the second half. Was it a case of almost complacency? We've got this wind at our back, we've got a lead at half time, and should there been more kicking for territory?
Yeah, I think it was the same recurring theme as last week. We went up half time against Ayr, really well done the first half, and then second half it's at 10-15 minutes just after half where we get a bit complacent and comfortable, and then that's where Currie fought back and got the 2 tries, and we just couldn't claw our way back.
Now, we've spoken a lot about you've got a lot of young bucks in the team, in the squad. As much as you've lost today, you've picked up a bonus point. Those young lads, they can still take a lot, the learnings from an event like this.
Yeah, I think it's some of them like their first season as a senior at a senior rugby level, which is good for them. And we played 3 big teams on the trot now, and I think it's just a big learning curve for them. So we have the second round in the hand, so hopefully everything goes better the second round.
And well, as Doug mentioned there, you guys are heading down to the Greenyards next weekend to play Melrose. What will you expect from them, and what will you guys need to work on this week?
Yeah, they're definitely a team that played better at their own home, so it's something we have to prepare for. Looking at their results, they were leading Currie, leading Ayr, so that's not a team that's going to lie down as well. So they come out flying, and we always know going down there it's really tough, hard border men. So it's really looking forward to the challenge, and then hopefully get another winner on our belts.
Well, we wish you well for that, Quagga. Thanks for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Quagga van Niekerk from the Watsonian side. They've got another tricky match next week as well. Now, thanks to Robin Purdie and also to Iain Hurd down there at Malleny Park today. I think I'm hearing that we can actually go over to Balgray now. Yes, we can, and join Andrew Fleming.
Full time here at Balgray, and Glasgow Hawks have continued their strong home record, registering a 25-15 win over Kelso. Hawks took the lead in opportunistic fashion with just 3 minutes on the clock when a long kick was sent into the Kelso 22. A wicked bounce allowed Hawks to swarm James Thompson when he caught it, who was penalised for holding on. In scrum half, Callum Reedy took a quick tap before burrowing his way over for a try converted by Liam Brims for 7-0. Kelso responded in the half-hour mark when Cammy Thompson managed to power over and ground for the try, and Patterson's drilled conversion attempt managed to beat the wind and split the post for 7 apiece. Brims and Patterson exchanged late first-half penalties, and the scoreline was 10-all at half-time. Hawks made a fast start to the second half as well, when the substitute Seb Hastings powered over after a series of caes from the forwards. James Cooper looked to be in for Hawks' third try midway through the second half, but a superb last-ditch tackle from the on-rushing Liam Herdman prevented the score and kept the margin at 7 points. However, from the next play, the try was secured when the ball fell to the giant figure of Ryan Burke, and the Glasgow Warriors Academy second row bulldozed his way over for a 5-pointer. With the game seemingly getting away from Kelso, captain Dwayne Patterson clawed his side back into it with 10 minutes remaining. The winger did well to evade the first tackler on the touchline before racing downfield. A deft chip over the fullback allowed him to gather and finish in the right-hand corner, taking the score to 22-15. But just as it looked like Kelso were going to leave with a losing bonus point, a penalty was coughed up midway between the 10 and 22, and Brims made no mistake with the boot to take the margin up to 10. A real physical encounter here this afternoon. It finished at Belgrade. Glasgow Hawks 25, Kelso 15.
Okay, let's have a look at all the results then. Currie 22, Watsonians 17, Glasgow Hawks 25, Kelso 15, as we've just heard. Heriots 31, GHA 14, Selkirk 26, Melrose 24, and the match between Ayr and Hawick, that was called off earlier today. The bus from Hawick was cancelled. In National 2, the GHK versus Howe Fife game was called off. Dundee 19, Highland 43. We're still waiting on confirmation of Newton Stuart, but Newton Stuart 21, Kirkcaldy 19 was the last that we had heard, and game of two halves there. Kirkcaldy were 19-0 up at one point. Peebles 21, Berwick 0 is a full-time result, and Stuart's Melville 32, Falkirk 21 the result from Inverleith. Well, that's been quite a busy programme today. Full results and tables will be up at rugbyradio.co.uk and bordersrugby.net soon. My thanks to the team today: Robin Purdie, Iain Hurd, Barbara Shiel, Hugh Brown, Andrew Fleming and Colin Black. Borders Rugby TV highlights of Selkirk against Melrose will be online tomorrow at our website at bordersrugby.net and on ITV News on Monday. Don't forget our Scottish Club Rugby Roundup podcast. That'll be available later this evening at our social media channels and wherever you get your podcasts from, with more reaction from players and coaches. But for now, from me and the team, a very good night.